Welcome to yet another live stream edition of the Hard Rock Show. I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
We got a lot to get through tonight. We have Jeff waiting in the wings, but he's having some technical issues tonight, so we're waiting to see how that goes. So we'll see. Hopefully, we're able to bring him in with audio a bit later on, but he's in the waiting room. Hopefully, we'll get that all sorted out. But tonight, we're going to go through another fair bit, as always. We're going to do our latest round of King of the Rift Blame Canada edition, which is Annihilator versus Triumph. We're going to review a classic from Nightwish. We're going to do the latest from Sydney band Starcrazy as well. We're going to be doing what? Are we getting overloaded by new music is the hot topic later on. We're going to play our next round in our build a supergroup kind of thing, which this time around it's bass players to go with that. And yeah, everything else is going on as well. So make sure you get in the comments, say hi, all the usual stuff that we get you to do. And while you're here, check out the description because everything that we're talking about tonight, we're going to share links in the comments, obviously, like we always do. But for those tuning in later on, or for those that are just wanting to go there now, there's all the links for things we're talking about tonight will be in the description box. All of our details are in there as well, so you can find your preferred social media platform to follow us on. And the same thing as well for our fantastic sponsors. A big thank you to Squid Ink Screenprinting, Alt-Cvlt Rockstar Finance. Their details, just like ours, are in that description, so give them a like or a follow. That'd be greatly appreciated as well. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot to get through as always. I'm just going to quickly drop in with a bit of quick little news here before we do the rounds as usual, and that is to say condolences to the family of Wayne Swinney, the guitarist from Saliva, who was actually the last remaining original member of the band, passed away today at the age of 59 after suffering a brain hemorrhage. So yeah, just generally speaking, our condolences. That's far too young for a thing like that, and hopefully all those near and dear and his bandmates and all that kind of stuff are doing as well as they can, and condolences to his fans and just general people that knew him as well. It's a shit thing to sort of start the show with, but we'll have a lot more fun later on. But I wanted to acknowledge that it happened a matter of hours ago, so I figured we'd quickly jump in there and just say, our condolences, and hopefully everyone is doing as well as they possibly can out there. What do we got here? We've got some comments coming through, which is nice. We've got Andrew over on YouTube saying, evening, guys. Good to see you. I'm glad that YouTube's working it after that glitch the other week. Same with Nicole. Good to see you, as always, Nicole. Same with Philo over on Twitch. Hello, omnipotent standing rockers. Thank you again for joining us over there on the other side of the world. It's good to see you. Rowan is here too. Good to see you, as always. And Darren is here saying, hey, yo. There's the old Scott Hall, which is cool. Good to see you, buddy. And Nicole also chimed in saying condolences to family and friends. But yeah, make sure you jump in, give us your thoughts, your comments, all that kind of stuff on anything and everything we do as always tonight as well. For some reason, the pages comments aren't coming through, it looks like, which is weird. Okay, so I've got Sally saying, hey guys, good to see you on the notification that came through on pages. So we'll see how that goes tonight. Hopefully things are going to work out. Jeff's trying a backup setup as well, so we'll see. Weird how, it's odd how some things will just work and some things won't work. Like the other week, YouTube glitched out. This week, it looks like Facebook might be glitching out. But I'll try and keep the comments via my phone here if I can. Alrighty. Oh, we got Jeff. We got visual of Jeff. I'm not sure if give us a thumbs up when you want us to try and bring you in. Do you want us to try? All right, let's try. Let's try. Do we have audio? Oh, we have audio.
Hey,
backup situation.
Hello, man.
Hey, guys.
How you doing, man?
Oh, well, now that I sorted this shit out, better.
One of those days, man.
It's not ideal, but it'll have to do.
Yeah, no, that's all good, mate. Whatever works at the end of the day. I'm sure you'll iron out some kinks whenever you get a chance to do so. That's the fun part about doing everything as, just the way we do everything. We wing everything. So it's that's the fun part of the whole deal. I've got a dog who just won't fucking settle down. Anyway, Phil is saying the guy with 200 bells. Yes, that is true. That is going to be Jeff. You're forever going to be known as that now. So it's like your claim to fame, being on here and being on the Hard Rock Show and being known for having a collection of bells. That's a good one. Oh, have we lost audio again? Yeah, I think we've lost audio again.
Oh, no. Jeff, grab a pad and a really thick texter and just hold it up to the camera and you'll be right, mate.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mic it up, dude.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah. All good.
Well, that's the original mic.
I know.
So why the fuck I don't even, not even gonna go there. All right.
We've got you.
So we'll just use this. Yep.
Yeah.
What
And
we got?
Cole jumped in saying you're muted. Philo says, will he chime in? Yes, he chimed in loud and clear. So we got
Bell, chime in.
we're getting it all happening here today. Alrighty. I've got a dog who is going to break a door in a second, I'm sure. Caesar, come here. Knucklehead. Nothing quite like a 60+ kilo dog that wants to go through a wall. Alrighty, so yes, I mentioned the passing of Wayne Swinney, which is unfortunate, but yeah, our condolences there. But let's quickly do the rounds here and let's see who's going with what this week. So, Dave, how's your week been? I know it's been a bit hectic. It's hectic all around at the moment.
Yeah, it's busy as fuck. It's crazy, but Nightwish later on tonight. So stick around if you're a Nightwish fan because you're going to see me lose my shit, which I'm looking forward to because I've had an absolute shit day. Just fucking one of those days. I'll be glad when it's. Well, I'm not glad when it's over. I'm actually happy now that I get to talk music and just forget about all that. Drink the last little bit of wine from the Aldi cask. Julia had all week to cook something with it. She says that's for cooking, and she hasn't. So I'm like, this is mine. Claimed it. Drained the fucking in the guts of it, and it's all gone. So yeah. Apart from that, it's been fucking busy, crazy. I'm gonna get some time off work over Easter. My kids do got school holidays, so looking forward to a break because it's hard to believe Christmas wasn't that long ago, but I've just gotten back into the whole done with the whole fucking system. But apart from that, we watched Lost Highway on the weekend.
Oh,
an old David Lynch movie. I've never seen it before. I always wanted to. And it's very surreal, very trippy. People can ascribe their own meanings to it. It was good, but it's David Lynch. So halfway through, you're like, what the fuck's going on now? Why are we here? I don't understand.
And I don't think it's aged as well as it could have either, that one.
It's one of those ones that stick with you, though. And as the day's going, like it starts to click. It starts to make sense. And I think as arty and artistic and surreal as it was, I think the whole main reason people watch that movie is Patricia Arquette naked in slow motion. That's the shit right there.
Wow.
That stuck in my mind the most. But I drifted away from that and started to absorb the story. That was cool.
The funny thing is, you remember that, and my biggest memory of that thing is the soundtrack to it. So
yeah, soundtrack was pretty cool as well. But it's fresh in my mind. Patricia Arquette. Fucking yeah. I used to watch her in Nightmare on Elm Street. And True Romance. That's a good movie. But yeah, we're talking about music, not movies. And we've got a hell of a lot of cool stuff to get through. So I'm going to shut up and ask Jeff, how are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I went to see Megadeth last night. So that was really good.
Seems like that went really well.
Yeah, it was a good show. So In Flames opened up and they just slayed it. But they were actually getting pissed off at the crowd because they were going, you guys need to fucking wake up. Do you like us? And then people are like, yeah. Oh, and they were getting angrier and angrier as the show went on. So, and then later on when Megadeth came out, he was like, you guys do like In Flames, don't you? Because I think these guys were starting to take it personally. It was really weird. And then got to meet Conrad. Yay, for the first time. That was fantastic. It finally happened. So,
now, did you guys get a photo together or not?
No, we didn't. Actually, I never thought of that.
I didn't get a photo with Conrad either. What was I thinking?
I never thought. But yeah, he's every bit as Conrad as I thought he would. So hey, buddy, good job. Nice meeting you. That's the best way I can put it. He's
a cool guy. Yeah,
he is a cool guy. Yeah,
a lot of fun.
Apparently, he'd seen Megadeth. Like this show that he just saw was like number 29.
Yeah, I'm not at all surprised by that. He's
like it's his band. Man.
He was in Adelaide the night before.
Yeah,
and then he saw them in like that's dedication.
I've met people like that. I met someone at a Dream Theater concert who had been to Queensland, Sydney, and I went to the second night of Dream Theater at the Palais. And he was there the night before. He just followed the band around the country. I'm just like, I wish I had the money and the time to do that.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, same.
There are fans that do that.
What year was that, Dave, for the Dream Theater?
2009? 14? 9? Oh, it wasn't 2007. That was the Festival Hall one. It was on the Black
Was Portnoy drumming or no?
Portnoy was there. Portnoy was still there. It was the last tour of him, I think.
Yeah, well, if that was the case, I was there.
What
Was
you-
it Pain of Salvation opened up?
Yes, they were
Yeah.
good. They were a good
We were
opening
in
band.
we were there. I didn't know you then. You didn't
I,
know me.
I was like
we-
20 rows from the front.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was just under, you know how the edge of the upper level?
Yep.
Like I was literally just on the
good
edge. So I
seat.
looked up, I was the edge of that. Yeah.
I think I was there in those seats when I saw fucking Joe Satriani there. That was a good
Oh,
gig.
nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Nice.
I think I was it? Yeah, Joe Bonamassa was the last time I've been to the Palace.
Wow.
Probably
Or
Jeff
Palais or whatever.
Rotel was the last time I was there. Julia was pregnant with Jade.
That's gone back a
Rotel.
while, man.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Fucking Jeff Rotel was great. That was a good gig.
Mm.
I haven't seen him.
Imagine. I've never seen them either. Can only imagine. Beating Metallica in 1989 for the Grammy. I was watching that show live. I'm like,
Wow.
what the fuck is happening here?
I'm sorry for Alice Cooper, man. He's just like, I'm not joking. It's what it says.
Yeah. Well, they interviewed James Hetfield afterwards, and there's a famous video you can watch, and he's just like, I don't even get this. What the fuck is going on? And it's kind of
on the Black album when they do win. Lars says, "I guess we got to thank Jeff Rotel for not putting out an album this year."
That's right. That's right. Yeah,
that was
because that's just fucked up. It means the people voting have no fucking idea, and it's not a slight to Jeff Rotel. They're great.
No. But it was the beginning of the end of credibility for him, I think.
Yeah. I mean, certainly not metal. Come on.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's something else. They're another genre. They should have been somewhere else. Yeah.
World music.
So, how have you been, Andy? How you been?
Yeah, how have you been?
Good, busy but good. Everything's okay. Just still working on shit behind the scenes. It's just fucking madness. And then I got that many messages that I'm trying to get through, and just oh my god, Dave, you know some of that, and it's just sort of fuck. It's just there's not enough hours in any given day. I'm usually up until 1 o'clock each night at the moment to get things done, and this week in particular has been a bit of a crunch because of the 2-hour episode coming up on Channel 31 at the end of the week. So I had to get that done, finished it off last night, and just sort of trying to keep on top of everything. It's just a bit of a draining period, but we've got Easter coming up. We've got some extra time off, there's work to do, but there'll be a bit of an opportunity to recharge. So yeah, like you, Dave, looking forward to that. But like I say these things, but you can't complain. Life is good. Everyone I know is happy, healthy, and well. So I'm genuinely in a good spot. It's just that it's just this year for the next few months is just going to keep kicking my ass. I've just got to keep riding it out until probably July, August kind of time. It's just where it's going to sit for me at this point in time. More on that will be revealed in due course because there's a big move coming up. That's how I'll put it that way. But everything's good. Can't complain. We do have some. Facebook looks like the comments are working, which is nice. David, we got it working. I didn't do anything; just started working. So maybe it coincided with Jeff's microphone working.
Fucking gremlin. That's a whole other movie.
Yeah, different problem. But David saying, "G'day, fellas, all the best. Good to see you again. Hopefully you're keeping well." Vinny. I'm always cautious reading your comments now. Vinny says, evening, lads. Hope you all stayed dry after this morning's deluge. Slipped and fell outside my front door, tore a hole in the crotch of my pants and wet my plums. Identify as fuck my life currently. That's a good way to start your day, mate. Hopefully you're actually okay. Man. Yeah, that's I don't know how to respond to that. Yeah, okay. I'm just glad you're okay and that you're here with us. That's the main thing, because those things can actually get pretty bloody dangerous at some point. And Jeff's disappeared again. Nicole saying music makes everything better. Yes, it does. When it came to Dave talking about things before, it does make absolutely everything better. Vinny has asked, is anyone watching the TV series The Last of Us? Bloody deep and somewhat disturbing in parts. I want to. I haven't had a chance.
It's zombies, isn't it?
Related to zombies, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. No, cool. Sounds good. What I've heard about it. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yep, you're good, Jeff.
Yes.
All right, cool. Yeah, no, Last of Us.
Yep,
fucking brilliant show. I think it may be one of the top 5 best shows I've ever seen of anything.
Wow.
It was that well done.
Wax lyrical for a second. I'm gonna sort these dogs.
I'll jump on my streaming service known as Torrent site. I'll watch a few episodes.
Yeah, it's on. You can get it on Binge and you can get it on Foxtel.
I pay for Netflix. That's it. I'm not paying for
Oh.
a whole bunch of fucking things I can just steal for free.
Fair enough. Fair enough, Dave.
All right, if I run away for a moment, it's just because the dogs will lose their shit. I can't contain them they're going to break a door. So I was like, okay, fuck it. They can just sort of wander around and do what they do, and hopefully things will work out. We'll see. It's the usual deal with these dogs at the moment. David, he asked what the movie was again. I heard Naked and got his attention, so that was Lost Highway.
Lost Patricia
Arquette. So there you go, David. Phillips goes, the Death Show. Yeah. How was Mustaine? On fire? Normally, yeah.
He was very good.
Hetfield was on fire like 30 years ago when the stage exploded.
Yeah, he was he was a little I did feel like when he was playing, he was on fire, but then when he was talking, and he did a lot of that, he was very subdued. Very subdued. He was like he had taken a couple of Valiums or something before the show. He was really like, wow. When he was playing, you couldn't fault it. But when he was just talking, there was no energy. It was very flat.
Wow.
Yeah, I picked up on that. Maybe it was just me. I don't know.
Okay. Well, if anyone else is there, let us know in the comments if you picked up on the same thing. Philo's going the Jethro Tull incident and correct Dave. So in response to that, Gear has joined us over on Facebook saying, hello, all Vikings. Tomorrow, the new album from Viking King, Viking Queen. Oh my God. Hail to the King coming up worldwide. Check out the album tomorrow, everyone. So yes, do get on that. Check out the streaming services and all that sort of stuff. That's going to be there. Their last singles have been pretty good. So make sure you do get around that one and give it some support.
Yeah,
Thank you for joining us again, as always, Gear. Good to see you. Vinny answered Lost Highway it was. Adrian says you changed your schedule. I'm not sure what schedule. I've changed my schedule. Everything's fucking changed. Vinny says, sorry about all the messages I've sent you, Andrew. I'll switch to dick pics from here on in. Well,
I'm bound out for that.
Yeah.
I've had enough of Dave's tissues and fucking Vaseline. That was enough.
Yeah, that was, no, leave it alone. I think
couldn't go dick pics. I'm drawing a line in the sand. Sorry.
Terry's joined us saying hi, guys, which is cool. And Phil is saying, stop watching TV. Well, you can keep watching us. We're on TV here as well. So I like us being on community television. It's like for those not following Australian TV, community television in Australia is like the old school Wayne's World community access television. We actually have basically the same thing here in Australia, which is how we run things. And it's all, just done by us for us with, some technical help to get it broadcast on a little tower down on the ranges, which is nice. All righty, let's get to our songs of the week. What do we got? We got Dave. I'll put these in the comments as we go through things, but make sure you check out the links in the description as well. But first up tonight is a brand new one. This dropped like a matter of, 24 hours ago, is it, Dave?
Yeah, like yesterday.
Yeah.
Came out of nowhere. Just like, holy shit.
It's a new one from Nita Strauss, and it features none other than Alice Cooper. It's a track called Winner Takes All. So that is in the comments. It's in the description as well. So go and check it out. Nita Strauss, Winner Takes All, featuring Alice Cooper. Dave, give us your thoughts. I know you want to.
I am so stoked to hear this Nita Strauss album. Half is going to be instrumental like her last one. The other half is going to have guest vocalists. We've had the one with Alyssa White Glitz, and this is the new one with Alice Cooper. Special thanks to Belle for putting this in our Discord chat. I wouldn't have known about this otherwise. So thank you. I'm a fucking Alice Cooper fanatic for a very long time. And the cool thing about this song, it doesn't sound like an Alice Cooper song. And he has changed styles so many times. It doesn't sound like something he's done before. This sounds like Nita Strauss with Alice Cooper vocals. And fuck, he's sounding great.
Yeah.
Nita Strauss never disappoints. Alice Cooper never disappoints. She's an amazing guitarist. He's an amazing vocalist. There's a killer riff at the start. Solo is amazing. Yeah, the interesting thing about this, they've been working together for about 9 years, minus her little mistake last year.
Not a mistake, man. Go and get a payday and do something different. Why
exactly.
Not?
I'm joking. Yeah, but it was clever. It gained some exposure. It was good. But she's back with Alice Cooper. 9 years roughly. They've never recorded together, to the best of my knowledge. She hasn't been on any of his albums. She's a part of his live band. She hasn't actually been on live albums recently. So it's cool to hear them together in the studio. But ultimately, this is a cool song. Sounds great. The riffs are cool. The solos are cool. Alice is cool. Fucking Nita Strauss, Alice Cooper. What more do you need to know?
Not a lot.
I did not know that about her not recording with him. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's usually just his main band, and she always performs live.
Okay.
Because I knew that like, after she left, he got back in touch with Kane Roberts came back.
Yeah.
And it looked like, you know, he was going to be back, and now he's on the outs again. He's gone.
Yeah, it didn't last very long.
No, didn't last at all.
Yeah.
Obviously,
the
that's
solo album he had out a couple of years ago was really disappointing. I was expecting a lot, and just it's not going to be Constrictor or Raise Your Fist and Yell. Those two albums are fucking great, but it's cool. Nita Strauss is doing songs from that when she's with the Alice Cooper band. Those two albums are great.
I mean, when I saw Cooper, I think it was in '89.
Wow,
a long time ago. Great White opened, and I think that was on the Trash tour. I think I'm pretty sure it was.
Would have been
Trash.
in '89.
Yeah, it was an amazing show. I was just like blown away. I still have memories. I remember there was one scene where there was this like woman walking around on the stage with him, right? And he had his sword cane and he was standing on it and dancing around. And then she just like walks around, and then he swung around with his sword cane, like he took the thing out when it was a sword. And then her head just lops off her body, and then she just crumples to the. I'm like, what the fuck? How did that happen? I couldn't believe it. I was just like, you know, and it was.
He was
like,
such a great illusionist, as well as being a performer, musician, fucking satirical commentator, humor, fucking genius.
Absolutely.
Very, very clever. Very clever at what he does. Have you checked out the song at all, Jeff? Or you don't know?
No, I haven't, but I'm going to. I've been lax this week. I haven't really done much.
That's right.
Been getting ready for Megadeth and
don't blame you.
You know, dodging COVID and all that shit when you're there. It's all good.
You keep doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. For me, this song, it's very modern and sort of heavily modern in the guitar tone, which was a bit of a surprise for me, just how sort of digitized it was. There's a little synth touch in this song, which is pretty cool and a little bit unexpected, to be honest. I didn't get a lot of that on the last album that we talked about a couple of years ago, Dave, but the synth worked well, and the sort of the heavy tone on it is a nice little way for it to kick off. For me personally, it's been really cool to see how Alice has really encouraged Nita of late. So when she left to go and do the Demi Lovato thing, he was fully embracing of it, to go and do that. When she wanted to come back, or they wanted her to come back over at work, she was welcomed back in. Now they've got this going on. So there's obviously a big sort of family approach. The way Alice approached or demonstrated his respect, regard, and desire for her to improve and grow by basically saying, we always tell everyone in the band, go for it. If you get an opportunity, go and do something different and then come back whenever you want. I love that about, just if nothing else, that tells you a lot about the man himself behind the scenes and what it must be like to work with him. So that's just a massive tip of the hat to the person behind it all, as far as I'm concerned, not the performer, but the man. Some cool lyrics on this one. At the end of the chorus has some nice oomph in it there as well, and there's some nice space in this one too. I liked how things were left for the drums and bass to drive things here and there. It wasn't just a guitar flash fest, which is cool. You're all waiting for the solo, and then when that comes in, it is very, very cool. What I liked about it the most was there's enough flash in it. She's got more than enough chops. She can play, but the way that it was serving the song was so good for me, and that's what really stood out to me about this song, is that everything was complementary between this and the track that she did do with Alyssa Waglu's a little while ago. That aspect of her writing songs as opposed to writing performance pieces is better this time around, and also the mixing is step up. So I was a bit critical of her last album where Dave loved it, and I was like, not so much. This one to me is much, much more impressive so far, and I'm looking forward to the album in a big way because these songs are actually really impressing me. So very, very keen. Between the mixing and then writing, this is a big step up as far as I'm concerned. So very much looking forward to the album. So if there's going to be anything like these two tracks that we've had so far, count me in. Definitely going to be getting on board with that for sure. Alrighty. Time for my pick of the week this week. I might be checking comments out first. Philo says Nita's fucking hot. You're not going to get any disagreement from any of us at all. Zero. Darren says Nita is killing it. She is definitely killing it. She's doing great things. Nicole says I like this a lot, which is cool. Getting some love for it there. Vinny says I'll go as far as to think this song will feature in sports montage. Thinks it's a banger. That's a good.
Oh.
Actually, I like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. That or maybe like when they used to have the pay-per-view wrestling theme songs. It'd be good for that too, I think.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm pissed off now. I haven't listened to this shit.
You will. You'll go after this and you'll listen to it. You'll be there.
Yep.
Sally says, love Nita, which is cool. Nicole says, I've seen Alice Cooper play the Palais about 8 years ago. So I saw him a few years ago now, actually.
Yeah, I've seen him a bunch of times. I think the Palais was the Theatre of Death tour. And he got killed like 4 times during that show. That was fucking great. And his daughter had this fucking ankle grinder, and she had this metal panties, and she put the ankle grinder on that, just blew these sparks everywhere. Like, that's fucking hot.
Definitely.
Darren says, nope, she's still touring Demi Lovato. I'm not entirely convinced because she put the Instagram post up and that about the paint going on, and then, said she's back. So I'm not sure about the Demi Lovato.
Who knows? Maybe.
If the schedule allows for her to do both, well, then cool.
Yeah, 2
even
pages
better for
instead of 1.
Well, Demi Lovato quit because it was too fucking hard or something. She's like, I never want to do this again. Tweet or something.
No idea. I have no idea.
I just knew. Clickbait. I scrolled past. I know that name now. Thank you, Nita. I don't listen to it.
Doesn't matter. Wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, it's something to do. Why not? If you can, why not? Philo's asked, have you seen the video where she's visiting Jason Becker? It's on YouTube. I haven't actually seen that one. There's the movie Not Dead Yet. I haven't seen it. I do want to check those things out. I don't get a lot of time to sit down and watch things, but yeah, Not Dead Yet is one that I do definitely want to watch, but I haven't seen the video with Nita visiting him either. That would be actually kind of impressive to check out because before it all hit him, he was a great guitarist, but then what he's done with composition since has been pretty fucking impressive as well. Just taking it all in. Andrew says, it's great seeing a female guitarist get more exposure for the talents like Nita and Sophie Lloyd, another one as well. Yes, we're getting some good ones. I like how it's becoming more prevalent, but not as big of a deal, if that makes sense. Like, it's so much more just part of the fabric.
Yeah.
And like, it's not just, oh my goodness, there's a female doing it. It's like, it's actually expected, if that makes sense now. It's not like a rarity or anything. I like how we've moved along.
No, it shouldn't be. I mean, some of the female guitar players are just, they just walk all over some of the guys, seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
No, wasn't she in the Iron Maidens before?
Yes. Yeah, initially,
yeah. So that was an amazing tribute to Maiden as well. If you haven't seen that, wow, fuck that. That's great. Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that show either, personally. But no,
I haven't seen it, but I sure would have went if I could have. That would have been amazing.
Yeah. Philo says, correct, Jeff. And he also says, you played with Marty Friedman way back. Yes, he did. Going back to
Cacophony.
Yes, that was the one. That was fucking impressive. Alrighty. Another song to check out, people, is one from Home Shores here in Melbourne. It's Ablaze with their latest single, Gasoline. There's a link in the description. It's also in the comments now for those tuning in live. This is the latest from the Melbourne band that we've been following for a while, Dave. We've had the first EP, then we got the album No Chaser from memory.
Yep.
I hope I'm right. And then now we've got, it looks like to be the beginning of a new cycle for these guys, which is absolutely fantastic. And this, for me, this song sort of picks up right where the album left off. There's some really cool energy on it. If this is a sign of what's to come, hopefully from the band, I'm pumped and all for it. Straight ahead hard rock, loads of melody on it. It's nothing complicated, but it's really cool. It's fun, it's energetic, and all that sort of stuff you want. One of those songs you know is going to go off live because it's got a great hook in it. The harmonies in the chorus are fantastic. There's a great riff in this one too. Some very clever lyrics, I thought, on this. I appreciated that side of things more on this song, especially the bit about the curious cat brought back by satisfaction. I was like, that was a little nod there that was cool. Neat little wordplay touch there. Like I said, a good hook in this one. It's catchy as all fuck. Be a lot of fun to see live. And there's a nice solo in this one too. I know we talk about, the Nita Strauss song, but this one's got a really good solo as well. There's some nice grit, some nice rumble in the song too. And I got to mention too, this is the debut recording with Paris on bass, which is a nice little nod there too. If those who don't know, Paris is Nikki's daughter. So it's good to have that one out there for everyone to get a hold of as well. And it's good to see. I like it when a band gets new members and then gets to doing the recording stuff so that, they get to put their stamp on things. I think it's a good step to take as soon as you possibly can do it, to record when you got a new member in there so they've got something they feel like they are a part of as opposed to been the karaoke person for a while. So glad they got this one out. Hopefully there's more to come very, very soon. But this band are incredibly consistent with what they do. So it's another great song that, I've enjoyed spinning quite a bit this week, actually, to be honest. But yeah, Dave, how'd you go with it?
Yeah, it's cool. It's good to have new music from Ablaze. It's been a few years. But yeah, band's been around for quite a few years now, and it took them this long to have a song called Gasoline. Ablaze, Gasoline. It's kind of a thing that goes hand in hand. Had to happen.
Marriage.
Yeah. Marriage made in hell or heaven, whichever way your persuasion is. But yeah, this is solid Aussie rock done right. I really, really enjoyed it. It's worth the wait. It's been ages since we've heard some new music. Cool riff, nice guitar tone, but the Blaze have always had very cool guitar tone. Cool rock voice. If you don't know, Danny does Gene Simmons in Destroyer. So if you like that type of tone, that's what you're going to get. Drums are fucking pounding their drive this song. Needs more cowbell. There's a lot of cowbell about halfway along. And I thought, yeah, that's a cool amount of cowbell, but just a little bit more. That's what you need. Always need more cowbell. Awesome guitar solo, as Andrew mentioned. I haven't seen these guys live in way too long. I used to see them all the time back in the fucking Elephant and Wheelbarrow days and Old Cherry Bar. And if this is if they're going an album of this coming out, that's going to be very cool. But yeah, once again, props to Paris getting to record a new bass player involved in the band now. But yeah, this is cool. Sounds like a Blaze. Cool Aussie rock.
Nice.
Nice. One you've got around to checking out yet, Jeff, or are we just selling you on it now?
You're selling me on it. I will check it out. I'm so fucking lack.
Don't worry. It's all good, man. Don't need to stress about it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I go back and I get to watch this show over again and go, oh, all the stuff. Jeff looks good. Listen to him talk. But I will check out all the links.
Well played. Well played. That was good. That fucking well done. All right, what do we got? Darren says Iron Maidens are touring Australia. Yes, they are coming very, very soon, actually. I believe it is. Not too far away. But yeah, thanks for jumping in there. Philly says, wonderful little rocket. I dig it. Nice. Getting some love from overseas too. Vinny says, another banger, 2 for 2 tonight. Thanks, legends. You're more than welcome. Glad that you're enjoying the tunes. Philo says, cowbell and all. So there we go. Nicole says, this is great, which is another rounding, great, resounding endorsement is the word I'm looking for there. And Sally says, yay, good time Aussie hard rock, which is exactly what they are. And if you want Aussie hard rock, Ablaze, one of the bands to go to as far as I am concerned. Alrighty. Time for a quick little gig plug, which isn't a gig plug. As I said before, every week we are doing this. There's about a month to go, I think, on this one now. There's a link in the description. Also in the comments now is a link to the possible campaign to save the tote, which has been started by the Last Chance Rock and Roll Bar. Long story short, there's about a $6.5 million asking price on the tote. The people at Last Chance Rock and Roll Bar are hoping to avoid this thing being going to a developer and all that kind of stuff, and basically being knocked down for apartments or whatever else. They're trying to keep it as a live venue. They don't want to get investors and stuff because investors always want to make a profit, whereas the Last Chance Rock and Roll Bar want to take over the tote and basically enshrine it in as much paperwork and red tape as they can as a live music venue, basically in perpetuity, and try and bring the community back to a hub in the CBD, which would be absolutely fantastic if they can get it to work. Now, I did check today. There's about a month left. They're looking for $3 million to be raised because they've already raised over $3.5 million themselves. So they're looking to get the other balance from as many punters as they can. It's currently just under $200,000, so there's not a lot of time left for a lot of money to get done. So fingers crossed, it can all get over the line. There's a link there if you want to get involved and help out however you can. There are different rewards. I'll have a quick look. There's just want to save it. There's T-shirts. There's other stuff in there as well. More T-shirts. Lots of T-shirts. All right, cool. I'll just have supporter posters, lifetime memberships. Just quickly scrolling through this one now. So even has a book band to the tote, which is pretty cool as well. Cool. And your photo on the ceiling of the tote and the lifetime membership. So there's some cool little rewards in this one as well if you're interested in checking it out. So there's all 4 different T-shirts designed. There's one big thing, compilation vinyl as well. Like there's a bit in here. So yeah, this is pretty cool. So yeah, please do get around that if you are able to do so. I know times are tough at the moment, but it starts off as low as $20. So just if you can pitch in $20 their way, then by all means do so. If you can't, that's okay as well. Just spread the word, do some stuff on social to, help spread the love about this one. And hopefully the people at Last Chance Rock and Roll Bar can get this one over the line. There's about a month to go and a lot of money yet to raise. So we'll see how it goes. Usually you get the spike at the start and then it sort of tails away. It doesn't really come in as a spike at the end. So we'll see what happens over the next month. But yeah, fingers crossed we get some positive news on that front. We can keep the Tote as a live venue because it is very, very important to the fabric of the Melbourne music scene. What do we got here? Oh, here we go. Vinny says, with all this new music, apparently Archbishop Pell has a new release. Also, authorities are investigating DNA samples as we speak. Well, yeah, it's not at all surprised. Here we go. Phil says, pure rock and roll bars is a dying race. Yeah, very sad. They are, unfortunately. As gentrification kicks in, that is unfortunately where we are as things stand right now. So fingers crossed we can get this one to sort of be, tied up in so much red tape it's not funny. We can get that one to stick around for a while.
That would be fucking great. Yes.
It would be great.
Let's hope. Fingers crossed.
Here we go. Hi, guys. Missed you a lot. That's from Belle. Good to see you, Belle. Dave gave you a massive shout out earlier tonight for in the Discord letting us know about the Alice Cooper track. So you got a massive shout out there. Thank you for joining us. Missed you as well. So hopefully you're keeping well down south. Hopefully everything's good with you. More behind the scenes stuff to come soon, I promise. I just keep fucking getting swamped. Alrighty, let's do a hot topic. And this is one that's a bit of an interesting one. It's if people that know the band Lord, if you follow Andy Dowling, the bass player from the band, if you follow him on his social, you'll see him tweeting and Instagramming and Facebooking about this one in particular. It's basically the concept here is, are we getting overloaded with new music? So I'm going to read out the post that he shared on his socials just to give this one a bit of context all around. It's a long post, so bear with me. But this is what the premise of this conversation is going to be. So, from Andy, not from me. My not so bold prediction, the next few years will see a significant oversupply of new music from bands. Oversupply exceeding the quantity that listeners can sustainably handle that may negatively impact listening experiences and ultimately artists. I'll expand. I'm continuously seeing and hearing from friends and peers in music who have already written and are recording multiple albums or releases worth of music during the downtime in the last couple of years. We in Lord fall into this camp. We have lots coming. Some say it's already too hard to keep up with the amount of new music. Attention spans are always criticized, but with the predictable spike in new music coming, it's only going to exacerbate the concerns for an average music fan's ability to digest music in a meaningful way. In some cases, we might find certain listeners simply falling back into their older album stuff they know because mentally it's just easier to listen to what they know they like rather than navigate the ever-increasing amount of new music. Especially fans who typically listen to legacy acts where a lot of these bands are also churning out new music and often mediocre material. It may reinforce the narrative that new music is just too hard basket, rock is dead, quote unquote, and listeners would just fall back into older releases. So how do we get around it? Marketing promo will be more important than ever, especially with the rising costs / risk of touring. We're all going to have to continue to find ways to cut through the noise and give people reasons to give their time to our music versus other music versus life in general. When we do get to the ears of the listener, are we engaging them to listen properly so they trust us and stick around? Do we need to create environments to further enhance listening experiences? Artwork has been significantly helping Golden Era right now, but new ways to drive lasting emotive connection will be important. Artists will also need to be cautious to not cheapen their assets or promo strategy due to social media noise. Premium pricing, scarcity, and exclusivity will be important. You don't want to capture you won't capture the larger market, but you will capture a sustainable, intentional, and attentive one. Cheapening what you do will guarantee to accelerate the demise of your career. Music media should find ways to capitalize the retrospective market where new albums that fall through the cracks get picked up in this discovery space. They're given a varied number of spotlights, feature pieces, reviews, interviews, so older releases get the love they deserve. This extends to industry players, creates services for artists to repurpose back catalog, retrospective promo, narrative work, and create revenue streams that don't put the cornerstone focus importance on new products to sell or promote. The longer we hold on to the album is dead 6 or so weeks after release mentality that's been present the last several years, the more we'll aggravate the oversaturation and shallow listener experience. We're about to contribute a large amount of new music over the next 18 to 24 months. We've been working hard behind the scenes like everyone else. As an artist, it's exciting to be on the verge of sharing so many new tunes with people. Many music fans are going to lap this up, the next era of music. The wider general music fans, though, will it be sustainable? Will the return on investment, i.e. listeners, new fans, sales, etc., versus the work put in for that extra volume of new music, be worth it? Time will tell. It is a lengthy statement or question or whatever you want to put it as, but it's an interesting conversation point to discuss there, Dave. And you and I have talked about this sort of stuff a little bit this year, and I'll go into more depth when I get my turn on it as to how we sort of changed our pacing this year in particular. But Dave, your thoughts after all of that?
Yeah. Is there too much content? I've been saying that for years. It's not that I don't like having so much music. It's just that I'm an anomaly. I like looking for new bands. And me and Andrew both have the same benefit of being able to listen to music at work. So I don't know if we could do what we do for this show if we didn't have that, because people are busy with their life. And I can understand that. Like I said, I'm an anomaly. But I have been saying, like Andy at the start of his post said that in the next couple of years, we're going to see a lot of content. I think in the last 2 years, we've seen a fucking shitload. Just like 2020, the whole world stopped. What were musicians going to do? They're going to make music. 2021, we saw a shitload. 2022, we saw even more. We saw bands that hadn't recorded anything in years releasing content, and it was good. Now, some people say, "Oh, old bands shouldn't be releasing music," but fucking, like some of the old amazing, like Susie Quattro released an album a couple of years ago, and that was fucking outstanding. It was an amazing album. But most people wouldn't listen to it. What was that?
Porcupine Tree made a return as well.
Yeah, they did. Like, holy shit, my boys are back. But yeah, you know, streaming is fantastic. It opens up content to everybody. But as far as younger kids go, unless you're looking for something specific, you're not going to find it. You're going to stay in your narrow box. And it's easy for albums to get overlooked because you can just flick on to the next one. It's just like, yeah, it's not grabbing me initially. But remember when we were kids and we'd save up to buy an album of this band that we loved, that we saw the music videos on fucking MTV or Rage, and spending your $30 on a CD, that was your money. And you get home just like, the singles are cool, but because you spent your money on it, you're going to go back to it. And you had that time. But because just like, yeah, I didn't get it. Next one. Yeah, this is cool. I'll check out that. But fucking, I love the 69 Eyes. I haven't heard every album. 10 years ago, when I got into Nightwish, I heard all their albums that was released within a couple of weeks because I went and found their CDs. Yeah. And it's the more bands you find, you can't keep up with everything. As I said, I'm lucky I get to listen to music at work, and I'm an anomaly. I like finding new bands. I like finding new music. Even like Megadeth released a new album last year. Megadeth, not every Megadeth fan give a shit about a new album. They're like 94, that's it. High school finished. This is the albums. I'm busy with my life. This is my job, my kids, my mortgage, blah, blah,
and
blah.
And to be clear, there's nothing wrong with that too. Everyone's got to consume their way. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. You want to stick to the legacy bands. But even that, when you get older, you got less time to listen to the albums that you love. And you know, bands try and keep the anniversary editions alive and special editions. Not everyone can consume all the content. Fuck, I'd love to have the Master of Puppets box set, but even if I could afford to have it, I'd probably listen to about half of it, and then I'd get too busy and I would never get back to it, which is sad. But there were times when I was younger, I would become obsessed with a band, and that was all I would listen to. I've done it with Kiss, Guns N' Roses, fucking Nightwish, Dream Theater, and once I'm done buying all the albums, I go to the bootlegs and check out live recordings. I go for YouTube. You don't have time for that anymore because there's so many great bands out there, so many great local bands, so many great overseas bands, and so many great old bands that we now get to discover because we have Spotify. So many bands that slip through the crack, like fucking, we did Armored Saint, we did Metal Church. I never saw their CDs in my local CD stores growing up. They must have had shit record deals. That's the only thing I can explain, because they're great bands. They should be more well known than they are, but they slip through the cracks. But now Spotify and other streaming services and YouTube has opened up a whole new world for these bands amongst all the new content we're getting as well. And they got massive discographies. You don't have time to get through everything. So unless, you know, I quit my job, I listen to music all day and drink beer, which I would love to do, and watch Patricia Arquette naked on fucking Lost Highway. Yeah,
There we
that's the shit right
go.
there. But unfortunately, you don't always get what you want in life. But I would love to listen to music all day and drink beer
Yeah.
and
Wouldn't
look
we
at slow
all?
motion movies, but it doesn't happen.
Yeah. It is an interesting one there, Jeff. Have you got anything you want to chime in with there?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a really well put together dissertation, we'll call it.
Yeah.
I think without a doubt the world has changed. We're living in a world now where it's a double-edged sword. I think the way we get music is the same thing that's causing all the problems. So we have streaming services. Like I remember, Dave, you were talking about, Armored Saint and stuff like that in the music store where you were. Well, where I was, where I grew up, there was no end of music like that. And I would go to my local music store and I would start in the A category and I would just be flipping through albums and I would go through A to Z looking for something. And what I would do is if I saw something I liked, I would pull it out and set it aside and then I would move along. And then when I got to Z, I'd go back and I would then go, because I've only got $20.
Yeah.
I would then have to decide of the 10 albums that I picked.
Yeah.
And then pick one, buy it, and then put the other ones back, right? But that's not how we consume anymore. We don't do that. We don't. When we open up Spotify, we don't start at A and scroll through. Yeah. We just go to the ones that we like. We look for recommendations, or we use
new
show
music,
like
new
music from you guys will influence people like myself to find and search out. Like I said, this show has been a gold mine for me for finding new artists and things that I would never have in my life had a chance at all. So the value of this show is immense. And if it affects me like that, I'm sure it's affecting other people like that. So hats off to you guys. But I also think the way we consume music, I think what we're seeing is we're still listening to music on an album sort of level. So we're taking 10 songs. Yeah. And I think that has to go. I think we no longer, first of all, we don't have the time, we don't have the attention span to listen to 10 songs anymore. We're listening to a few songs and then we're on to somebody else. Boom, 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 right? So when a band releases an album, they're releasing an album the way they would have done in the 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. It's 10 songs, but it's too much. We need to go back to like the EP where you just release 3 or 4 songs. And then if you want to release more, that's fine. You do it at a later time. You maybe 3 or 4 songs, and then a couple months later, you another 3 or 4 songs, but you stretch it out rather than here's 10 songs. And in 2 or 3 weeks, you're over, or you're not listening to it anymore. You've moved on. And then that album gets lost. And that's the problem. Yeah. Spotify is great, but look what it's done to the music industry. It's destroyed the music industry. If you want to call the music industry anymore, Spotify, they have worked out deals with all, the people that release the albums, not the artists. Yeah. So the artist gets like, a tenth of a cent for every 1,000 views or clicks listens to it. But the people that posted it, like if it's whatever music group out there, they're making the lion's share of that. And they're getting a lot of money. So the music industry serves the people who are publishing it, but not the actual artist. Yeah. And that's a problem as well.
It's a top end monopoly, not even distribution. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, yes, we live in a world where if you put something out, you could have a very wide net in which to get listeners from all over the place. Yeah. But, you have to spend money for promotion. You have to, try to get your name out there. That's all. There's lots of ways to do it. But at the end of the day, bands fall through the cracks. Like Dave was saying, bands fall through the cracks and then they're gone. And they've missed that opportunity to get seen. And then there's something else has come out to take our attention away. We listen to that. We live in a throwaway society. We live in a fast food society. Everything is now. And what happens? It's too much. You end up going back to the old favorites, the things that you love, the things that and that's your, that's your comfort food. Exactly. And so, and that's where it makes you feel good. And that's what drives you to keep listening. But yeah, I would not want to be a musician in today's world trying to make it big. I mean, sure, it can happen, but you spreading yourself so thin, in order just to get, you know, a few clicks, a few listens. You know, gone are the days of, like, I don't know, will we see bands make it on the same scale as Iron Maiden and Megadeth and Metallica and all that again? I don't think that's ever going to happen. Not to that level.
Maybe not the live shows, but I think social media presence, that we're going through a change. But yeah, you finish your point. But yeah, go on.
No, but social media is, like I said, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
But it's like, I sort of akin it to, you know, everyone talks about, you know, this is kind of related, but it's a similar sort of thing. Someone will say, "Hey, have you watched this show? Have you watched this show?" And you're like, "No, I haven't." And why haven't you? Because you don't have time, one, and there's too many fucking shows to watch, so you have to pick and choose. And someone will watch, say, some, like, you know, 10 years ago, have you watched Game of Thrones? Yeah, I love it. Or no, I haven't even heard of it, or whatever. And it's because there's so many other things there that are taking your time. And
Breaking Bad, same thing.
You know, and then you have people saying, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Why aren't you watching?" Because I've been watching something else, you fucking idiot. So, and that's the problem. So, you know, and it's the same thing with music. You get the same sort of thing happening in music. You have to pick and choose. There's only 24 hours in a day, and, you know, albums, as I said, take a certain amount of time, like, you know, what, half an hour probably to listen to an album. And if it's like some prog rock or something, maybe 45 minutes to an hour. Well, that's an hour out of your day. You've got work, you got, but all these things.
Just to jump in on that point, to find the time to do it focused as opposed to while you're cooking dinner. That's another thing.
Absolutely. You guys are so lucky, you know, because you said you guys can listen to music while you're at work. I can't, because I'm on the phones, you know, and I can't have customers going, "What's that? What's what?" You know,
I'm just, like, Metallica.
I have to do that with my fucking flatmate. He's in there laughing, and they're like, because I'm living with the fucking Joker. They're like, "What does that sound?" I'm like, I just have to go, "Sorry, I didn't hear it. What do you mean?" You know, I don't know. So that I can't have music playing. If I would, I could, but I just can't do it. So you guys are very, very lucky in that sense.
Yeah, we are.
You know, because, you know, that's what, 8-9 hours out of your day where you can.
And we're both lucky that we have family that support us behind the scenes too in what we're doing. We're very lucky in that regard.
I generally think that we need to, as a society, as a consumer, I guess, that's the best way to put it. As a consumer, we need to sort of change the way we consume, because and artists, as I said, I think that artists need to sort of adjust to the new way of people consuming. And as I said, I think it's the length of the album. You know, we just don't have time now for an hour to listen to something. And if you do, you're probably breaking it up into multiple pieces, multiple bands, because there's only so many hours in the day and everyone's busy and blah, blah, blah. We all know that. So I don't know. I see a time when artists are, you know, literally breaking up an album into 3 or 4 chunks, EPs, putting them into, you know, putting them out there and promoting them that way. You know, I was earlier in the week, I was having a chat on Facebook with Jimmy, and we were discussing AI. Now, don't even get me on that topic. Where we're going. I honestly think that it's very scary. AI. I totally foresee a time when there will be there'll be like at some point there will be an AI song released that will make the charts, and then there will be an AI #1 hit single, and we're talking like completely made by AI, and there may be people there who don't even know. But then when that happens, that's when the money train starts going, and all the industry gets behind it and thinks, well, you know, we can just pump this shit out, bang, 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 press a button. You know, and it's fucking Pandora's box, and when it's opened, there's no closing it. You know? So I don't know.
Just jump in about.
It's your show.
I still like. I still like full-length albums. I know I'm probably old
Yeah.
school and young people like consuming one song at a time. I think it depends on your level of the band, because I can understand younger bands needing to keep the content happening. I'm cool with that. So a couple of singles and then releasing it as an EP package is cool. But then thinking about legacy bands, you compare Megadeth to Metallica. In the last 15 years, Megadeth have released over half a dozen albums. And if I pick a Megadeth song, I honestly couldn't tell you what album those songs are on in the last 15 years. The classic albums from the 80s, 90s, yeah, easy done. Grew up with them. But then Metallica have released, what, 3 albums in the last 15 years? And every time they release an album, it's an event. And they're long albums, too. It's a fucking massive event because they wait. Same with Iron Maiden. You wait 4 or 5 years, you get a double album. And you're going to take your time with it. It becomes a massive event. Fucking Maiden.
I completely agree with where you're going. I'd argue the point that for those bands, because they've got the fan base that are willing to work with them on that front, that's why it becomes the event. If it's a smaller band,
I honestly would rather wait a longer amount of time and get a massive amount of music than getting an album every 2 years like you get from Megadeth. There's also this assumption that you need a tour and album. You tour and like if you go through Setlist FM with Megadeth, they play their classics. They play 2 or 3 songs from the new album, and then those new songs are gone the next tour cycle from the next album. AC/DC were the same in the last 10 years. Legacy acts don't always have to release a new album to tour. Wait a few
they have
years
that
in between.
they have something that they can rely on. They've
got a catalog of classics that people want to hear. And there were people protesting at Maiden shows during their Matter of Life and Death tour. Play classics. People didn't want to hear, and then they had that great idea of having the legacy shows and then having the new shows. So Maiden,
new bands don't have that luxury. That's the problem.
But I can understand younger bands just get a few songs out every couple of months. So it depends on what level you're at. But then you need to keep doing that to keep the attention of the audience. Because there's always something else coming along to grab their attention. It's not just music these days.
No, that's right.
On the video games, that's what the shit is right there. And fucking TikTok. Get your music that you can do a challenge to on TikTok, and then you'll go viral.
Look, I'm going to jump in at this point in time, and I'm going to
eat Tide Pods too.
God, Dave, I'm going to put the media side of this into the spotlight, I think, and a lot of this has to do with the way the media are doing it. First off, I think that we've got to take any and all judgment out of the conversation, which happens. Like, have you listened to this yet? Why the fuck not? Like, let's not do that. Like, we got to stop when it comes to TV, when it comes to music. We just take the judgment out of the whole fucking thing. People are so time poor these days that just let them do what they want to do with their time and enjoy it. I think that a part of the wider conversation in general is how, the traditional thing used to be you'd have one person working 40 hours a week and then the other person to take care of the household, and that's how people balance their lives. And now you can't get anywhere. You're barely treading water unless 2 people are working at least part-time or full-time kind of thing. It's very, very hard these days. So time is the biggest commodity that people don't have. And I think that as relates to that, we need to understand where consumers' energies are shifting. And that means that, yes, whilst I love albums, Dave, you love albums, I'm sure Jeff loves albums as well. But the context is that consumers, generally speaking, don't have a lot of time for it. And I think that people that go the people that want things to stay the way they were, it's just not viable. Society has moved too much, too fast, too far from what that was from 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s even to where we are today, where life is just so much faster that it is disposable, but at the same time, it's also how many people have the cultural impact of songs, unless you're Taylor Swift at the moment, for example, versus the cultural impact of a TV show a la Game of Thrones. There's a bigger difference in media coverage. And that's why I think that the media have a lot to play in this one, even if it's just people like us or the bigger media and all that kind of stuff as well. We've made a shift in how we do things. We tried a change in format last year. It worked, and we're running into it because it seems to go well. We do bring new music every week. We just don't bring as much as it was because we do find that it's more important or more enjoyable for us and for the audience. We feel that if people can get involved in the conversation, it becomes a two-way street. It's back and forth. It's more entertaining. It's more fun, more engaging, and you feel like you belong somewhere. And I think we need to get back to that. So it doesn't, and that's where I think that having what Andy said about the media cycle change from, the album's dead 6 weeks after it's released. That needs to stop. That's a big, big point in this whole conversation, because whether it's an album, an EP, a single, there's value in it much further along that. And I think that we've made a conscious decision to step away from being, let's cover the newest thing now straight away. We've made a conscious decision to do that. We haven't really vocalized that until now. We've made a conscious decision to step back from that, because you just can't do it. I just don't think it. I don't think it does anyone any service to do that. I think I'm glad that we're talking about the Starcrazy EP later on tonight. It was released last week. We try and stay current on those sorts of things, but at the same time, we did one that was from last year before with Toe Hider. It's like when you get the chance to actually dive into it properly, and then you get to engage the community and that sort of stuff. That's the value in it for me. I think that if you come into talking about music or publishing about music, or if you want to be a media in this space, in my point of view, it's more important to be engaging and to talk about things in a depth and with a nuance that's important to it, as opposed to just go, here's the newest thing. Yeah, it was good. No, it was shit. And get the hot take society, which becomes disposable journalism in its own way as well, which is a big part of the problem as a wider thing at the moment too. So I just think that it's more important to speak or to engage your passion. So if it's your TV shows at home, if it's your music, if it's your EP, it's an album, it's a single, doesn't matter. As long as it makes you feel something that engages you, that's the point. Bands need to realize, so does the market in general, that, you've got to go with the attention here. So if that's changing to EPs, changing to singles, doing more stuff on TikTok, whatever the fucking case may be, if you want to make it, it's always been hard to make it. Always been hard to make it. It's like we're talking about the 1% of the 1% of the 1% that even have a shot out of all the bands in the world. Like, it's such a small fucking margin, and we should, celebrate the ones that actually do something productive. But because such a small margin, I think coming into it or discussing it or improving its lifespan to be more than just that 6 weeks after it's gone. And my perspective on this has shifted over the last 10, 12 years doing the show too. Like, I used to think the same thing. It's 6 months, it's gone. Now I don't think so. I think that's just a case of, it comes down to people like us doing what we do here to get people motivated to check things out by building a community online, which I think anyone can do. Bands can do the same thing, like build your community online, that sort of stuff, and just sort of keep growing as organically as you can. If you can't spend the money, you can't spend the money, but you can still do things with a camera or your phone and the social media world to try and keep yourself doing something and being engaged and, engaging with your audience and that kind of stuff. That's what these live streams are so important for us for every week as well. So I think that coming into it all, changing your approach, don't worry about if you've missed it, and don't make people, like, the whole peer pressure side of things need to be ditched as well. Just shift. Everyone's busy. Everyone's time strapped. Let's just do what you do to make you feel happy and engage with people where you can. Have you checked it out? Okay, no. Well, okay, fine. Change the conversation. What have you been listening to? So you can learn back and forth from each other, as opposed to, got to talk about this one now. That's what we do. We try and go, okay, we've checked out these, and we talk about stuff that people know about. We bring some new stuff into it, and hopefully we give everyone some education while giving everyone a place to call home where they can talk about things they know about as well. That's how I've shifted things here behind the scenes as the quote unquote producer. Dave's been a big sounding board for me on that one as well, and how we've come to that sort of decision. But yeah, there's too much to keep up with. So just I think coming into it with depth and honesty and, giving it the time it needs and deserves is the important part of it all, no matter what that is for the consumer or for the band or for the media. I think everyone should sort of appreciate the art of it, as opposed to just, churning it out for clickbait cycles. I'm over that. It doesn't work. I'm not chasing anything. I just want it to be a community that, can talk about music that they love. That's what I think we can do, and that's how I think the media in general can do a better service to the bands. And that means if it takes you 6 months to get to a new release, that's okay. But if you wait 2 years, because we're doing other things too, we go through full discographies, that's great, because you'll find albums you've missed when you go through a band's discography on purpose. Then that becomes a conversation point in and of itself. So taking that approach, I think, is healthier overall, as opposed to just subjecting yourself to burnout too, which is just fucking nuts. But anyway, I've waffled on that one, but that's what I think. That's my point of view.
You're spot on.
Yeah. So thank you. It's just my opinion on things, but just, when you step back and have a look at it all, that's how I think we need to sort of shift our thinking on it all. The consumers have changed. So, change the way you approach it. And I think that just because it was released 6 months ago doesn't mean it's no longer worth talking about. I think it's actually more important to talk about things because people aren't giving those things that love that they deserve. That's why I like being a bit behind on things, because it's like, okay, here's one we dug up for you. Go and check it out, and you build the audience. You build a rapport. People trust your opinion when you do that over some time. So
that's exactly what I said. You guys have opened like a world for me, and I think that's really important. And I know that if you guys have done it for me, you're also doing it for people out there, that are watching. So that's really important. Too. And well, hats off where credits due. You guys have done a wonderful job over the years, and I hope you guys continue for the next 10, 20 years going down the road.
Not going anywhere.
When it's no longer YouTube, it's just beamed into our brains.
We'll be doing something.
Yeah,
we're like syphilis.
That's
man.
coming, folks. That's coming. Yeah,
we're like cockroaches, man. You can't fucking kill us. We don't know
when to quit.
Never work. It's shit we've gone through to just keep pumping out every week, but we keep doing it and we love it. So no, we're not going anywhere, and hopefully the people are enjoying what we do as well. But I think the conversations like this are important too, because let's be real and be people for a while and this sort of stuff too, and actually just acknowledge that it is hard. So let's just enjoy what you can in life when it comes to the arts in general. I think they're important. They enrich our lives and deserve to be treated a little bit more respect than just sort of clickbait and fuck it off again. Like that's me personally.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot in there. Alrighty, we do have comments.
Lots of comments.
I've got a few here. Rowan says, we were talking about something adjacent to this topic in Discord. The Rolling Stone put out their nonsense, the 100 greatest heavy metal songs of all time article, which is biased toward old music. And that's a thing too, because recency bias doesn't seem to apply to classic lists, which is a weird dichotomy at some point in time. Because I would argue that some of the tracks on Firepower would definitely need to be in the greatest 100 heavy metal songs of all time. I think it's fucking... It's only a few years old, but fuck, it's awesome. Phil says someone's milking the music industry. Well, yeah, definitely that's a thing for a while, and that's going to be like just a segue for a second here, very quickly. With the AI conversation, we're going to get to 2 tiers of music industry as that plays out. You'll get the mainstream, and you'll get the other side of things, and that's where building your engagement and your audience organically is going to be important as time moves on. Rowan also added the older the music, the more likely everyone is to have heard it many times. The newer the music, the less likely everyone has heard it and listened to it enough times to really understand its value. Good point there as well. That's why I think music needs time to be digested. Don't just sort of rush it. Vinny says it's just the way it is these days. We're conditioned this way now to be able to absorb so much in quick succession. Unless it's Machine Gun Kelly, he can fuck right off. And I don't think
he can fuck off. He's a no talent fucking hack. The best thing he ever did was The Dirt with Motley Crue. That was it.
Yeah. And that wasn't even all that good to me, personally.
I enjoyed that. I've watched that about 5 times. I love
Harmless fun. Bad casting, but harmless fun.
Bad acting, which is so weird because the guy that plays Ramsey in Ramsey Bolton in Game of Thrones is like one of the best villains, but such a wooden performance from Mick Mars. I'm like, I get it, but just nah. Anyway, Phil says, "Oh shit, I was around Metallica traded tapes," and that's the thing too. We've got to get back to that spirit of communication. Just do it digitally instead of physically. That's what we need to do
making tapes for friends, just a mixtape.
That's
fun. This is what I like.
Attitude.
Can you imagine if that's how we?
It should be easy these days to just share a playlist.
That's the thing, but do that. But how many of us are actually doing that actively? That's the thing. That's where that niche can be filled now.
Correct. Because we've got all these tools. We just need to fucking use them.
None of us utilizing them properly. I'm guilty as well. We're not utilizing them at their full potential. So there's a lot we can do.
I'm going to be a fucking Gen X and say the young people don't appreciate what they got because they got the whole fucking world in their phone. They don't give a shit.
Well, this is right. But
but at the same time, it's a different world for them than it is for us.
It is a different world for them. I mean, the idea of actual LP, like, you guys, we all grew up on.
We all love it.
They have no fucking concept what that is. They look at it, it's like a foreign object from outer space.
Yeah.
What
if
is
it's
that?
not an NFT, it's like, what the fuck's going on? Like, that's where it's going. But the thing is that we can sit there and say that, but we've got to just also understand, take a step back and go, you know what, that's okay. Because they do things their way, we'll do things our way, and we'll just find a way to converse with each other in between and try and explore things together. That music is meant to be community. We need to get back to that.
It's the universal language. We just need to find a way to connect everybody with it.
Share shit.
Yeah,
share shit.
And that's
share
it.
Shit.
Just share shit. Make a playlist or just a song, just share shit. And it doesn't matter if it's old or new, just share what makes you feel something. I think that's the important thing. Make it genuine. Nicole chimed in saying, "Love Metal Church, tons of bricks, bought it as soon as it was released here." There you go. Rowan says, "I don't have enough time to listen to even just the music I buy, and I see so many other albums that I want to buy." And this is the crux of the issue. That is the crux. You're going.
No, I was just gonna say that's part of the problem. We've just got so much, and there's only so many hours in a day.
Yep.
You know, back in the day, you like Dave said, you took your $30 or $20 or whatever it was, you went down, you bought the album, and you were invested in that album because you spent the money. You were gonna make it fucking good by listening to it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's just you pick up your fucking phone and you can listen to 5 fucking trillion songs. They're right there, and we're just not doing it. You know, we're listening to it, but we're not putting the same value on it that we once did.
Yeah. It's easy for Dave and I to say we do because we make a point of listening to things several times, but I understand completely that we are the anomalies, we're the outliers. It's harder for people that don't, invest or have the capacity to invest that time in it to get around to that point, which is unfortunate, but that's just the way the world works at the moment. Chris jumped in. Good to see you. He's gone. It drives him mad that life gets in the way of the amount of music I listen to today compared to when I was younger. I need to be far more selective with my choices these days, and that again is part of the problem. Philo says, "Remember flipping records like that?" Yep, that's how we did all that.
I used to love doing that.
It's going through, flip.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
great. Nice. Yep.
We love that shit. We just got to try and make a digital experience for it. Tom says, having new music from bands I've loved for years, Extreme, Rival Sons, Wandering Dogs, Mammoth, WVH, is a great thing. It is very good. Tom says, I'm at a job and have a lifestyle where I'm able to listen to a ton of music. This has helped me discover new bands. And this is the thing too. If you're fortunate enough to try, and this is where people like us that are fortunate should do more to share it, if that makes sense. We got to try and find a way to put some balance back into things. Dirty Honey, the Black Moods et al. I think the bands are making up for being locked down for close to 2 years. Flood the market, the strong will survive. And that's the thing too. The market is the market. It will do what it does. There's no point, I guess, wailing about it. It is just what it is, and just do what you can and just, work with the audience you've got for as long as you can. Chris also said, honestly, I can't remember the last time I listened to an entire album from start to finish, either a new album or a classic one. Even the new releases, I rarely go from track one to last track in one sitting. And that's the thing too, especially when you want to sit down and listen to it like we all used to do, sit in front of the speakers, blow the EQ and shit, or put the headphones on. Not many of us can do it these days. It's a rare thing.
It is a rare thing. That's why I think we got to get away from this 10 song album thing and just have an album release that's like 3 songs.
Yep.
Because you've got time for 3 songs. You can do it while you're taking a shit or whatever.
About the 20-minute mark, 20 to 25 tops. Like between 15 and 25 is about your sort of target mark, I think, these days. We've got a comment here from Rowan who's jumped in to say 3 or 4 amazing songs sound great, actually. I'm thinking of that amazing Lorna Shore EP, perfect length, no filler. And that's the thing, too. You get to really hone in on things. So I think the glorification of the album, like, we all love it, but I think the setting it as a higher bar than an EP needs to stop too. That level of caliber, it just needs to be about the quality of the music, not the quantity, if that makes sense.
Correct.
Make the conversation about quality.
Bands can't afford to experiment like they used to. I mean, we've done so many band discography specials over the last 10 years or so. Every band had that album that divided fans. It was a bit, what are you doing? They can't do that anymore because you can't lose the attention of the listener. You can't experiment. I
think you can if you are conversing with the audience leading up to it. So it's about that conversation and setting the expectation. Does that make sense? So if they know you're doing something different,
yeah.
There's so many bands doing it though.
But Rush was way ahead of its time, Dave. Because remember Hemispheres? 4 songs. That was it. The whole fucking album, 4 songs.
20 fucking minutes each.
Yeah, I know.
There goes the time factor.
It's still a double album.
Yeah.
Vinny said, I need a sugar mama so I can listen to music all day uninterrupted, which is that'd be nice.
Yeah.
How else Patricia Arquette these days?
Oh, here we go. Philo's going AI for the Illuminati, which is an interesting one there. Philo says, Dave, an album has got to be like a story. I agree with that. It does need to be the
different
game.
Chapters, different moods, different themes, different tempos.
But this is where have an album, good, but break it up into 3 or 4 chunks to make it. And then at the end of the year, release it as the thing if people want it as a collector's like edition kind of thing. You can do like that's where your exclusivity. Yeah.
Concept album, 3 songs, right? So it's like the first few chapters of the story. and then you get people hooked because they want to know where the story's going to go, and then release another 3 or 4 songs. That's the next chapter, and so on and so on until it's done. And then you've got the built-in, you've got basically the reason for people to go to the next chapter. You could do that as well.
Andrew, what was that fucking space thing that was released by a local musician a few years ago? Dennis played a solo on it, and it was like one part was released and another one. That was really good.
That's Wayne Dwyer's project from Volvagun. I forget the name of it now.
But the name of the project. That was great.
There's something Continuum.
Vortex Continuum or something like that. But
it was Continuum. But the fourth part is coming out soon, and that's the final of it as well. So I do make a point. I do want to make sure we did parts 1, maybe 2. I think we missed
1 and 2, I think.
But then so we'll do the whole thing as a complete listen as the once that comes out, Dave. That'll be on the radar. So we'll definitely. I'm keeping an eye on it because I got Wayne keep me up to date with things on Facebook. So I'll make sure we know about that.
The advantage, if I could go back just to touch on, if you do put out 3 or 4 songs like an EP thing, then that forces bands as well to make sure that those songs are the absolute best songs. Because if you release an album, invariably, it doesn't matter who you are, even if you're Metallica, you can go through and find some filler songs that you just go, this is shit. What, and you skip. That happens. But if you put out 3 songs and 3 of them are shit, then you've got a problem. So you need to fucking think things differently.
But this is where I think at the same time, changing the way we approach it into being a more conversational aspect with social media land, because that is the direct link to fans. Yeah, that direct link to fans is going to be more important than ever before in the years to come. I think that is the key with everyone doing anything at all. Chris jumped in to say, I asked ChatGPT to write an original Kiss song about the lead singer's penis using US cities as metaphors. It's fucking amazing. It's like a lost Gene Simmons song. I'm curious as all fuck, mate. I tell you that. I'm curious as all fuck about that. Wow. Philo says, I too is from the time when Metallica and Megadeth releases is happening. Yeah, well, that was always fun when those things were there. But Ernie, good to see you that jumped in with this one. This is why vinyl is making a comeback. People are missing the art that comes with the music, the whole package. So we're going back to it. Honestly, I personally haven't gone down that rabbit hole, but I do miss reading CD and LP covers from cover to cover. Spotify is a blessing and a curse at the same time. It's a new era of music, and we're in the infancy of it. That's true. They're very much the infancy. Artists will work out how to navigate these times and figure out how to survive and be relevant in these times of information over. I can't see the rest. But yeah, definitely that will be a thing. Paul on YouTube's jumped in to say, well, did someone mention Nightwish? We are getting to that. We do get long-winded on these shows, so bear with us. But Nightwish is coming. Dave has the top on. That is in there as well. Ernie says, disposable journalism, great turn of phrase. The world is full of it. Yes, it is indeed, unfortunately. Nicole says, I love Thursday night so I can talk about music, and that's what we're all here for. That's why these streams go for so fucking long, because we all like talking so much.
Sorry, guys.
Nah, don't worry about it. Philo says, very deep and long-haired conversation. Well, yes, that's how we roll.
Bald like me. Yeah.
Nicole says, you guys put me onto some great bands, and that's the key. Like, it doesn't matter how new it is, as long as you find something you enjoy every week. That's the key. You won't find everything, but if you find 1 or 2 things a week that you enjoy, that's job done as far as I'm concerned. Phyllis says very organic, and that's what we're trying to do here as well about everything. Chris says, we talk about not having any time to listen to music anymore. Who has the time to listen to a 1-hour playlist a friend makes for you? I think that's a fair point, but I think at the same time, just the fact that we can share it, and then if you hit random and you give it 2 songs and if nothing floats you out, you can jog on. Kind of that flexibility, that conversation, and the people that put out the playlist or share a song have no expectation. Don't make it so that I put this out, so please listen to it. Just go, here's something. If you're curious, check it out. If not, that's cool too. Like, we got to really take the heat out of the conversation in a big way to make this a joy.
People have kind of come to expect that if they come to one of my birthday parties, they're in for a whole bunch of fucking musical education, because playlists for my birthday parties usually go for 30 hours. Just hit random, and then who the hell knows what the hell happens.
Yeah. But, I've got some playlists with a buddy of mine. The guy I went to saw Megadeth with, right? So him and I, we've got a playlist, it's Jeff and Steve's playlist. It's on Spotify. Yep. And I think it's public. You can search it, but who the fuck is going to do that? But
you never know.
You never know. The thing is, this is what we do. He'll add a couple songs, right?
Yeah,
I will listen to it and go, oh, that's fucking cool. I will do the same thing. I will add a few songs, and that's what we do. Go back and forth. So we're educating ourselves.
Yeah.
He's like, holy fuck, old man, because that's what he calls me, old man, because I am an old man, but he calls me that. That's my nickname. And he's like, that song that you put on there from whatever. He's like, that was fucking great. And it's kind of what you guys are doing for the community. Same sort of thing. So I've taken that to heart.
Yeah, that whole thing and the flexibility between YouTube and Spotify and that, for example, to share collaborative playlists. Like Dave, we've got that playlist that Nikki started years ago now with the Power Ballad one. That's fucking epic. Like there's some awesome ones that go around. Just that whole thing about getting back to not taking the pressure out of it and just going, here's something. If you get around to it, cool. If not, just as cool. Like just sharing things back and forth. Even just one song here and there. Just do a song for a song. Don't even make it like here's a billion. Just go, here's a song.
Because then it gets lost and you can't do anything at that point because you're just like, well, fuck, how am I going to listen to all this shit?
Big and you get just lost. Yeah.
Little bites, and that's all you need, right? It's like you've got a meal in front of you. You don't put the whole fucking thing in your mouth at the same time. You take little bites. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Depends. If it's a fucking burrito, you go for it.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Burrito. I'll tell you what. I just found out. I didn't even realize that Taco Bell is in Australia now. There's one in Dandenong. So they have a thing called chili cheesy burrito. Oh, fuck, man. Oh my god. It's
no, man, the Guzman and Gomez breakfast burrito. That's the fucking shit.
Yeah, right? Okay, here we go.
Another topic. But yeah, I gotta get to Dandenong and try this fucking Taco Bell because we used to call it Taco Smell because that was the nickname back in the day. But chili cheesy burrito, it's like this cheesy bean beef and stuff all wrapped in like a burrito.
Yeah.
And you can just inhale the fucking things.
So good. You never know what you're gonna get.
You never know what you're gonna get. Yeah.
With us every week, it's fucking nuts. We go all over the joint. Just to get back on track for a second here, Philo says the same thing here. I used to create YouTube playlists of the week and send a link to my mate. This whole conversation is going to be a really cool idea that for people that are interested, Patreon and otherwise, I might set up a thing where somewhere, maybe in Discord might be the way to do it, would be you'd send a song and put it on a Spotify playlist. And then, because I do the Hot Rockin' thing, maybe change the Hot Rockin' thing to being like here's our collaborative discovery and just
one song. Otherwise, it gets too much.
Yeah. Everyone, you put in one song and then you randomize who gets the next pick and then they put their song in. And then you randomize the next pick. Awesome. They put their song in. That's something that's just popped in my head now that we should do something like that. Just the
community. And it gets everybody talking.
Yeah, exactly.
Going, holy shit, that's great. Yeah.
I think that's just maybe,
See what's just been born in this conversation. This is why this show is fucking great.
There's some awesome people on Discord chat already that's just sharing music all the time. I jump in when I can, but fuck, there's some cool stuff constantly getting shared.
Yeah. No, I think we should do that. Make a thread or a sub chat in there. Yeah. Okay. I'll get onto that and we'll work it out. We'll try and do the logistics of that over the weekend. If not this weekend, then look for it between now and just after Easter. It does take me time to line things up. But yeah, that'll be a thing. Dave will get to work on that one definitely for sure. I reckon it's a good idea.
Big Kev said, I'm excited. All right. That's something. Yeah.
Shit. That's a blast in the past. I haven't thought of Big Kevin donkeys. When it comes to different generations, Nicole says, true, Dave. They have so many choices, they don't get it. Here's a tie-in idea, actually. Rowan says, a Terratrace episode where you make mixtapes for each other, Secret Santa style, and then review the tapes you receive. That's a cool idea, too.
That's a nice idea, too.
That's a really cool idea. I like that one a lot.
This is great.
Yeah,
Nicole, I honestly don't know if we could, though, because we kind of know each other too well. We know what each other's going to pick.
Yeah, but if we do it like the torture and we try to find things that'll throw people off.
Yeah.
William Shatner's coming, Dave.
But you try to throw the scent off. Like, that's the thing. The person who make it like a thing where bragging rights goes to the one who doesn't get guessed. It's their list kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You win if you don't think that it's yours.
You don't know who you're getting it from.
Yeah. So the idea is to be songs you like, but songs you think will throw people off the trail a bit as well. So there we go. What do we got here? Next one. Andrew says, it's just unfortunate we live in 24/7 world today. We become a society that's designed now to consume and with all products accessible on a variety of platforms. This is there as well. And it says also, you just need to find what's right for you via the internet, the TV, etc. And that's exactly. Just find what's right for you and celebrate it. Like the Garage Days with Philo, that's another one there as well. Paul says, speaking of the Grammys earlier, did you see the audience's reaction to Lorna? Sure, it was hilarious. The look on Bonnie Raitt's face when Will Ramos started his pig runs. Haven't seen it, unfortunately. I do want to. Put a link somewhere. I would love to actually check that out. What do we got here? Darren says a variety of choices is a good thing. You just have to find what you enjoy, and that's the thing as well. But being open to finding what you enjoy too, that's half the conversation as well. Chris says, I'm totally digging Hot Metal's regularly updated new releases Spotify playlist. New songs get dished, new songs added. Yeah, we were doing that for a while with our Hot Rockin' playlist, but it's a bit hard to keep up with all the emails. So I was doing it, whatever was coming through the email, I'd be updating it pretty much daily. Now it's just fucking ridiculous. Rowan says, Lorna should play the Grammys. What? Got to YouTube this. So yeah, we'll find out. Chris says, let me know where I can send the AI Kiss lyrics to. It's fantastic. Alrighty. Send us an inbox at the Hard Rock Show page. That'll be probably the easiest one for you to do there, and I'll check it out as soon as I can. Nicole says the Painful Road to Eden was Volvagun's last album. That was the last album. This is a side project from that we were talking about before with the
Space Fiend.
Yeah. I forget. Fuck yeah, but I think it's on YouTube only as well. That product. Yeah,
something Vortex.
I think so. Yeah, that sounds familiar. But yeah, both Volvagun albums are absolutely fantastic. If you've never checked them out, please do. Philo says, remember the old Metallica 12-inch maxi singles printed in red and blue vinyl? That's the fun. That's the collector side of things as well, which I love that sort of stuff too. Vinny says, call me innovative, but I had an idea on this. Bands could release 30-minute episodes for TV release about the making of their album, get fans to buy into their journey emotionally, and could potentially end up with devout followers. Great idea. I love bands desperately need to document far more than they do. It means learning to edit video, and yes, that's a pain in the ass, but if us drunken fuckwits can do it, anyone can do it.
All you need is a fucking phone.
I know.
You can do it, and so it could be easy. Everyone's got a phone these days.
It's easier now than it was 12 years ago when I started doing this. Yeah. So, it can definitely be done. I know it's time-consuming, but again, this is where it comes down to work plus talent. Not always talent first, but the work you put in, that's an important aspect of this. So, yes, bands definitely should do that. I would love to see that. That's a great idea, Vinny. I think bands definitely should jump into that one. Basher says, hi, guys. Late coming in. No matter when you get here, it's good to have you. We're celebrating our 37th wedding anniversary. Well done. Congratulations.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. Well done on that one. Well said. In my early days, mid-70s, I was very selective in purchasing records, just didn't have the money, and I wanted to buy quality. It was very exciting times. However, recent times, I've discovered many new and old artists, mainly through THRS. Very exciting as well. And that's great to see. That's exactly the purpose for us here. Michael's jumped in and said, evening, good to see you as well. Vinny chimed in saying, burritos literally gave me the shits. I'd sound like a beat up Volkswagen in the work toilet cubicle.
Taco smell. There we go.
That is a great descriptor. Fuck, that is wonderful. Philo says, Secret Santa tape idea is a great thing, so that's cool. Vinny says, congratulations, great milestone, nice there too. Tom says, having YouTube helps in finding new music. I use it to discover brand new music, and that's true. The algorithms are very good at what they do. Darren says, yep, Volvagun are fucking awesome, and Nicole jumped in to say congrats on the wedding anniversary as well. A lot of love all around. Well done. 37 years is a hell of a feat, so definitely congratulations on that.
Yep.
All righty. Still got a bit to get through tonight. So bear with us. We'll try and go as quick as we can. But now, Jeff, I don't know how prepared you are for this, but now it's time for the Build a Band round 2.
Oh, and, I'm always raring for that. I was loving that last week, so it was good.
Yeah. So this time around, it's bass players. And for those that aren't playing along, last week we decided to start this game off, and we're going to be doing a thing where each week we'll pick a position of the band. So last week it was the drummer. This week it's the bass player. The theme that we're choosing from is the big four of thrash. So Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, and Slayer. Has to be a member of those bands. Alive, dead, doesn't matter. How long the stint was, doesn't matter. Just have to have been a member of those four bands at any time to be eligible to be selected. It's a blind draft, so I randomly draw out who gets to go first. Once the person is picked, they're off the board. They can't be picked again. So each individual supergroup we create is going to be unique. And the rules are you have to choose at least 3 of the 4 bands. You can't just have 2 bands, 1 band, or whatever. If you want to go more, if you want to do all 4, by all means, go for it. But you have to have at least 3 different bands represented in your supergroup by the end of it. What we're doing with this is I'll do a video over the next few days, a standalone one outside of this, where I ask the audience to give their votes on what they think they would pick if they could. And then the top 5 going to helping us score some rankings. So, for example, last week we did drums. I had Dave Lombardo from Slayer. Dave chose Charlie Benanti, and Jeff had Nick Menza. That was how we went through things, and we chose our drummers. The audience top 5, going from bottom to top, was Chris Adler, Paul Bostaff, an equal bottom there. Then you got Lars Ulrich, Nick Menza, Charlie Benanti, and Dave Lombardo. So the way this works is that we give it a score out of this one. So the top one gets 50 points, second one gets 40 points, down to the 5th choice, which gets 10 points. It's pretty easy to work out. If there is a dead heat, they're both worth the same, no splitting or anything like that. So in this context, so the way it works right now is it tracks things. Jeff is on 30 points, Dave is on 40 points, and I lucked out by getting to 50 points. But this is why we do our picks first, and then the audience get to vote later on as a separate bit of content, just so it's a bit more interesting in how it plays out. So without any further ado, we are going to pick bass players tonight. It is a random draw, so we'll see who gets to go first this week. It is Dave gets to kick us off. So Dave,
man, going first. I mean, people would probably expect me to go Cliff Burton, and I really could, but I'm going to go Jason Newsted.
Oh, wow.
I think fucking Jason was awesome. He wasn't just a great bass player. He had a great stage presence. He had killer backing vocals, and I think that would be great for a band. I think Jason playing with Charlie Benanti would be fucking cool. So, yeah, going with Jason.
All right, cool. Jeff, let's see if it's you or me next. It's me. All right, cool. Well,
lucky last.
Yeah, I know. I'm torn, actually, because it's one of those things where who do I want? Because I'm going to go with the Metallica bassist as well. But which one do I want? Because
Ron McGovney. Yeah. The guy we never heard.
Underrated, man. Underrated.
It's eligible. He's very quiet. Now, oh, man, this is hard.
What Bob Rock, man?
Yeah, actually, you could. I'm going to go... Oh, yeah, I'm going to do it. I want to go Cliff, but I'm not going to. I'm actually going to go with Robert Trujillo. I just think that for me, you want the variety of choice. I'm pretty sure the audience vote is going to go heavily toward Burton, but that's okay as well. But I'm going to go Trujillo because I just want that. He's played with Ozzy, done Suicidal Tendencies, got a whole diverse catalog. He can do a lot of different things. I just think that talent, I'm going to take it while I can just to add the talent to my list. So I think Rob Trujillo playing with Dave Lombardo would be a hell of a lot of fun for me personally.
Yeah.
Alrighty, which means, Jeff, we get your one now. Who is your bass player?
Well, to be honest, my first reaction was Cliff, and then I thought Dave, he's going to take him. And then I thought, oh, fuck, you're going to take him. Well, how can I not take Cliff Burton? Come on. And so it's Cliff. And I'm behind the score, so I need a boost in the audience. So Cliff, come on. Yeah. Cliff Burton.
No one was going to take David Ellison. You don't want a wanker in your band, do you?
Literally. A wanker, yes.
Wow.
Oh, wow. No, look, Ellison, I have...
Actually, he's really good.
I think he's fantastic. Yeah. He's very good. But I couldn't take Ellison because I chose Menza, right? You said you wanted different bands, different members.
You have to have at least 3. So you want to try and get your different picks in earlier, I guess, than later on. You don't want to find yourself shoehorned on your last pick kind of thing because it's a draft. You don't know when you're going to go. So that's where you got. It's going to be a little bit of strategy to it as well. You got to get a bit of diversity in early so that you get the criteria, the 3 bands sort of knocked over nice and quick. And then you can round out your final 2 choices as best you can because the blind draft complicated still a little bit. So it's
cliff them all, people. Cliff them all.
Yeah, definitely, mate. If you win that one, I'll be fucking more than happy because Dave and I are both tempted. I nearly did take it, but I'm like, no, I'm going to go a different direction.
I was actually thinking, as if you was taking, I was going, okay, maybe Tom Araya.
Yeah, I have that on my short list.
Yeah,
Tom Araya.
He can sing, he can play, writes all the lyrics. Yeah. So, yep.
I also had Frankie Bello. That'd be a good little pick as well.
Good choice.
It's funny, my pick for Megadeth bassist was actually going to be James McDonough. I was going to go with that, just for something a bit different there as well. But that's it though. So for this time around, Dave chose Jason Newsted, I chose Rob Trujillo, and Jeff chose Cliff Burton. So we took the Metallica trifecta for the bass player this time around. But yeah,
No,
feel free
sorry,
to jump in the
Ron.
comments. Yeah, no,
Ron,
sorry,
Ron
Ron.
missed out. Yeah, he missed out.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this works out as it plays on into next week. So this is cool. Chris goes, "Oh, I'm a bass player. That's nice. Good to see." That's a hard one though, especially if it's your instrument of choice. There we go. Phil's gone. That Cliff Burton. There can be only one.
Go. There can be only one.
Sally says Cliff.
Cliff.
Come
on, give me the love. Cliff.
We got some more diversity. Darren says Rob Trujillo is an absolute beast, which is cool. Darren says, thought that would be up your alley, Dave. So that's I'm not sure if that's to do with the wankery.
Sure, where we're going with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But Frankie, Andrew also says Frankie Bello, his bass work on the 90s set with John Bush era of Anthrax is underrated. And he and Charlie on drums is a great example of great rhythm. Good point there as well. Yep. Chris says, so many conflicted thoughts. Cliff for classic emotion, but Ellison for his unique tone. Good point. But I've got to go with Newstead because he's just rock solid. Chewed for days and would have locked in massive with Metallica. That's a nice one there too. Good to see some love for that one too. Yeah. There we go. Nicole's going Cliff. Philo's going, I was born same day as Cliff. So here we go. I think we although Michael's going Trujillo. So we're getting some interesting ones here. But wait and stick around for the video coming over the next sort of 24, 48 hours on that one. So just make sure you keep up to date with everything that's got going on there as well. All righty. Got to try and move through things relatively quickly. What have we got here? Yes, the wankering was the point there for Dave. So
I actually had a 15-minute phone conversation interview with David Ellison. It's actually really nice. It was a really good conversation. It was really interesting. To talk
you know why? Because it wasn't a video chat.
Exactly. I would have video if that was that. But this was like 10 years ago before we knew what he was really like.
Sorry, that was there. I was going to take
it. Dude,
that was a good one.
What do we got? Oh, here we go. Fuck it, McGovney or no one. There we go. Well done. There we go. Nice. Well done. All righty. Time to get into our second last round for King of the Riff Blame Canada edition. After we finish the Canada, we're going to go into concept albums is what will be our next King of the Riff theme. But for this time around, it is the second last round. The winner of this one goes to face Rush in the finale next week. Tonight, it is Triumph Allied Forces, which is the second or number 2 seed, versus Alice in Hell from Annihilator, which is the number 3 seed. So in the end, the 4 top choices from the audience polling, which is how this is all set up, it was all audience polled, are the ones that got to be in the end. So far, we're in pretty good lockstep with the audience, which is a nice touch. So yeah, this time around, Triumph Allied Forces versus Annihilator, Alice in Hell. That is the battle that is going to be the one. The winner of this one goes on to face Rush in the finale next week. Let's start with you, Jeff. Which way are you going on this one?
Well, you mentioned last week that it was going to be, Allied Forces versus Alice in Hell. I was like, I'm going to be really torn on this because I love both albums. I love both bands, obviously. And then I thought, as I was listening to them during the week, again, because, it's been a long time since I've actually listened to Allied Forces before we did the initial review a few weeks back. It's a very strong album. It is really strong, and it arguably, one of the most popular albums that Triumph ever did, and rightly so. It's got some great songs on there, but there's, going over to the Annihilator side, Alice in Hell is just a beast of an album. A first release. Triumph once again, they were already set. They were already established. When the time Allied Forces came along, they were already, 5, 6, 7 years into their career. And so for Annihilator to come out of like literally nowhere, and put out an album that to this day, still holds itself and holds its own weight. I think Alice in Hell is one of those albums that is not only generational, but it's an anomaly because most bands will never release an album, the first album especially, with such quality songs that will last and influence countless bands and musicians along the way. Like Jeff Waters as a guitar player, wow. Like he's just, next level, right? And you could say Rick Emmett is next level as a guitar player, and he is. But there's something about Jeff Waters playing the classical side that you get really treated. You hear that this guy's got the chops, and he's got the feel. And I've been a huge Jeff Waters fan, you know, for as long as I've been playing guitar, ever since they came along. And you know, in the late 80s, when we saw this, it was just like, holy shit, who is this dude? And he was like a benchmark at that time, you know. So yeah, I kind of waffled on. I think everyone can kind of guess where I'm going with this. I don't think that these albums are fair. I don't think when it comes to, you know, I'm not taking anything away from Triumph, and I think it's a fantastic album on its own and its own merits, and against maybe somebody else, it would stomp all over them. But in this particular case, I think it would be unwise for me to choose it over Annihilator's Alice in Hell. I think Alice in Hell is just a juggernaut. First album release, set the tone for what would be, you know, for the next 30 years or more. In fact, it's been more than 30 years, obviously. Yeah. And so I just think, it's just too good to say you're not going through, at least for me. I don't know what you guys are going to vote for, but for me, it gets the push. So Alice in Hell for the win.
Nice. All righty. Dave.
This is going to be very easy for me. A few weeks ago, I missed the Allied Forces one initially because I was sick and I didn't get my homework done, so I had to sit out that one. So get to listen to Triumph this time around. They're obviously good musicians. They perform well, can obviously play. Great solos, but the songs really don't do all that much for me. It's all nicey, tame stuff, which can be cool if the songs are interesting, but they weren't. And I really struggled listening to this. And I forced myself to listen to it 2 or 3 times. And I was like, yep, not doing that again. Annihilator I heard for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and I fucking love this album. It is so good. And the more I listen to it, the more I enjoy it. They might not have the fancy time signature changes that Rush do, but they've got some very subtle tempo changes in a lot of these songs, which really work. If you're really getting into it, as you learn more about the songs, as you get familiar with them, you can really tell like that shifting there. It's not jarring though; it's very smooth. That's cool. The riffing is fucking dexterous as hell. Solos are pretty awesome. They're not just on the open E string chug; they're doing different notes as well when they're doing that fast shit, and then they're switching to the straight 8th note for chunky chords. Fucking solos are amazing, and they've got fresh ideas at the time in the genre that was pretty well established in the way it had to be played, which would have been, I'd missed the whole thing back in the day, but it would have been fucking amazing when this album drops. Guitar tone is killer, the songs are memorable, this fucking shit's all over Triumph. Easy win, Annihilator. Fuck yeah.
Good on you. Now will we have a sweep here?
Oh, we will. I don't know, because we haven't had one yet. We keep waiting to see if there's going to be one, and if there's not one this week, I'm pretty much sure there's not going to be one next week. So there may not be one in this round. We'll see. I don't know, because Jeff, I think
might not.
You might surprise me.
No, I tell you what, this album is killer. I love it. It's just so good.
It's a hard one. All right. So to see if it's a clean sweep or not, because we've got the winner determined, they're 2 pretty different albums when you break it down. It's cool to have that as a facet of what we're doing in this one. You're getting different albums all the way through. It's nice to get the top 4 getting into the last few rounds kind of thing. It shows that we're in pretty good step with the audience. 2 all-time great albums here for me personally. I think both deserve to be here. Both could easily go through to the next round. Annihilator is probably the more influential album out of the 2, but I think Triumph on the flip side is more accessible overall to a wider audience. But both, I think the thing that stood out listening to both albums back to back this week was just how good of a storyteller both artists are. Like between Triumph and between Annihilator, you've got some really fantastic storytelling going on both these ones. The lyrical work is fantastic across both records. Again, different to each other, but the craft is just fucking on. Very different sounding records as well. Triumph is really classic. It's got that warm sound to it. Annihilator is more gritty. They're both well mixed. They suit the bands nice. So there's an edge to Annihilator, which makes it stand out. For me, I think sonically, probably Triumph has possibly aged better overall sonically, but I think the songs Annihilator wrote are less time-stamped, if that makes sense. Like Triumph is definitely of an era, whereas Annihilator feels a little more timeless. Both are really memorable for me. It's funny how Dave just went bang, like straight in there, because for me, both of these albums are so memorable. They're really well written, well performed. It gets harder to split them the more time you spend with them as well, because you just end up falling more and more in love with different details across them. Triumph give you a real diverse journey, a real showcase of an album, whereas Annihilator is much more direct, very metal. It's almost a concept album in how it feels and flows. They both have great lead work, but I think Triumph probably have the edge in hooks and melody. Annihilator, though, have the edge when it comes to things like straight up attack and aggression. So depending on your taste, you're going to get something good out of both of these albums. Both have great emotional impact. Triumph is on the uplifting side of things, the feel-good side of music, whereas Annihilator is really dark, brooding, intense, got that King Diamond-esque kind of horror feel to it. You know, they both set a tone, which is remarkably important for an album. When you listen to them side by side, it's like, okay, this is a big deal comparing them both. That said, you know, for the aggression that's on Annihilator, don't underestimate some of the riffs on Triumph, though, because when Allied Forces wants to, you know, kick into gear, it goes pretty well, actually. And the synth edition, or the keys edition back then for that album, was a pretty cool touch as well. But I think that both albums made really good use of instrumental tracks and things like the acoustic guitar for accents as well. Like, they both used them in different ways, in different tones, but they both fit. So again, as you get through these ones, when you start breaking it down, it's like, okay, this one has this one, and it's harder to split them than you think. For me personally, it was anyway. But at the same time, I said don't underestimate Triumph. Now it's don't underestimate how well Alice in Hell is put together. That really grows on you in a big, big way. If anything, it gets better the more time you spend with it, which is what makes it so impressive as well. The more you spin it, I don't know, there's more fun in Alice in Hell than you expect. Like Allied Forces gets from the start with the energy of it, but Alice in Hell has some cheeky little bits and pieces in there that just sort of sneak up on you, and the more time you spend with it, the more you appreciate it, and gives that little, you know, nudge and a wink kind of a feel, which is nice to be on the inside of the joke, if that makes sense when it comes to that kind of a thing. Not that it's a jokey album, but there's just this little nod, little wink, little nudge. It's a really cool little thing. Both albums flow well, great repeat listenability. When we do these ones, I listen to the albums back to back a few times just to get my feelings for that week set up. But there's a lot to take and enjoy on both albums. Both are ripping in different ways. All in all, this is fucking tough. Like, the closer we get to the end, the harder it is to split them. It's like I said, that's why I'm like, Dave just went fucking straight for the jugular. I'm like, man, I really enjoy both. It's hard for me. So for me, it comes down to which one I'm going to reach for first when it comes to picking an album off the shelf. And at this point in time, while your neighbor your housemate didn't do quite the walk this time, Jeff, but he did quickly walk by the background.
Perp walk. He just
just needed the dun dun dun.
Yeah.
So you needed some music to go with it. But anyway, by the slimmest of margins for me, I'm actually going to go with Triumph. So no clean sweep this week.
Wrong.
I think it's the number 2 seed for a reason. For me, it spoke to me more. It was the way it made me feel, the hooks in it. And like I said, it's like by the bees. Like, am I sad Annihilator are going through? No. I fucking love the album. So it's going to set up a great contest next week. But it was just the way that I felt this week listening to it. And yeah, I don't know. It's funny how divided the audience was in the post video that went up for this one, you know, teasing it all yesterday.
Sure.
The audience is pretty 50-50 on this one. I haven't gone through the comments in the stream tonight, but I did quickly see before when Jeff started off, that I don't know what's going on behind you, Jeff, but
I don't know what he's doing. Well, you know, there's no question that the Triumph is like, I mean, it's classic rock, right? So, you know, it's got that, and Annihilator is definitely in the metal camp. There's no question. You know, so when you look at them on that level, Triumph wins as far as classic rock and that stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think Annihilator, you know, it burns like a buzzsaw blade. It
exactly,
does.
Yeah.
And it's just it doesn't stop.
And you know what? And I'm sitting here like, okay, we didn't get the clean sweep. We haven't had one, but I was like, I'm cool. I'm happy to listen to Annihilator again next week. I'm good. Yeah. So, you know,
Annihilator.
I'm not disappointed, but next week it sets up one hell of a showdown, in particular for you, Jeff. Annihilator.
I'm, you know,
Rush Moving Pictures.
I'm in fucking hell because it's Jeff in hell at the moment because I don't know how I'm gonna do this, and because everyone knows Rush is my favorite band, but as I showed before, I didn't choose Rush because I felt that this album is more powerful. So I'm going to stick to my guns, and I'm going to go into that fight. Really, it's going to be a tough one, and don't hedge your bets yet.
Yeah, no, I know, I can feel
everybody in boat Rush.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting.
I don't want people to think it's going to be a foregone conclusion, because
no, I joke before when I say what I said before, but I genuinely know, listening to the way you've articulated over the last few weeks, this will be a genuine challenge.
Yeah,
I know it won't be for Dave.
No, I think it's a pretty. You never know. You never know. The only thing Dave doesn't like about Rush is the vocals, right?
Yeah.
He likes the lyrics. He likes the music. So musically, that album, we all know it's fucking amazing.
Yeah. Well, we're giving everything away. That's for next week. But no, I think it will be genuinely a real hard contest, and it's been fun.
Huge.
It'll be a big one next week. So Annihilator, Alice in Hell versus Rush Moving Pictures is the finale next week for the Blame Canada series of the King of the Riff. Yeah, same time place next week. Got a couple of other things to get through before we get out of here, but we'll get some comments now. Here we go. Back to the bass player stuff for a second here. Philo says Ellison is very skilled, but Cliff, had a powerhouse of a human being. Definitely left a mark for sure. All right. Darren said Annihilator. Tom said Triumph. Nicole said Annihilator. Nicole says love both, but listen to Annihilator more. But Michael said Triumph. Philo said, taking this further, I would like to see Chris Boland lead with Hetfield rhythm guitar. We will get to that in the coming weeks. Don't worry about that. That is coming. But Basher says Annihilator. Darren says Jeff Waters, brilliant guitarist, and Rampage on vocals, can't beat it. There we go. Nope. Chris says never trust a singing drummer.
That's a kick against Triumph. That's what that is.
Well, that is it. Yeah. Nicole says, I don't know how many people who know who Triumph are, and I'm old, but they all know Annihilator. So there we go. That's another good point there too. Chris says, I heard the Benny Hill theme while the housemate walked by.
Yeah.
Philo says, not in Kansas anymore, Jeff. There we go. Chris says, Geddy Lee's voice totally kills me for Rush. There you go. Dave, you have company.
Dave,
I'm not alone. Yeah. I know a lot of people feel the same way.
There we go. Bill says, love that Annihilator album. Got to bail. Guys, cheers to laughs. You're welcome. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for spending some time with us. Hopefully we'll get you back very, very soon. We've still got to lock down some things with you as well. So hopefully soon we'll get onto that one. But hopefully you keep them well out there, Bill. We'll chat more very shortly. Alrighty, a couple of quick reviews to get through tonight. Well, one will be quick, probably. The other one won't be. I know that for a fact. Anyway, in the comments, we'll give you a taste of the latest from a band called Starcrazy. So this is the new one for the week. Starcrazy with the EP Another Day, Another Squalor. There is a link in the comments. It's in the description as well for the track Hysterical. So go and check that out while we wax lyrical about a review for a minute here. So this is Starcrazy with Another Day, Another Squalor. 6 tracks, 22 minutes. The second EP from the City Band, released March 2023 independently. Produced by Mo Mayhem, recorded by Andrew Beck at Damien Gerard Sound Studios. 4 tracks. This has been previously released as singles, including The Big Time and The Open Sea. The band have received high praise in the past from the likes of Nights with Alice Cooper. And we've got to give a shout out to Lee in our Facebook page, our Facebook group in the lounge for making us aware of it. Oh, no, was it a page post? I don't know. Either way, Lee let us know this one was out. So I figured we'd give it a go. It's our first time checking out this band in the history of the show. So let's see how we go this one. Jeff, I'm assuming you haven't checked out this one.
No, I haven't.
No, that's all good. So, Dave, let us know your thoughts, and we'll see if Jeff wants to go and check it out after you're done.
Oh, I will.
Yeah, this is cool. This is fun. The fun, upbeat, high-energy rock and roll album. Lyrics and song themes mostly match the feel of the music, but sometimes they do touch on some serious themes. It's not overwhelmingly gloomy, but when they want to touch on some stuff, they can get pretty serious. Gets right to the point with the opening chord of the opening song, Galaxy of Love. You just get this vibe from this band in those opening moments, and that's pretty much setting up what they do for the rest of the album. The more and more I listened to this, the more I enjoyed it. It took a while to grow on me. It's not exactly the style of rock and roll that I go to, but yeah, I found a lot in it to enjoy with subsequent listens. The Big Time, for example, got some Rolling Stones vibes to that. I love fucking Stones. And they got that ooh, all that type of shit that Stones did, like Sympathy for the Devil. And fun upbeat song, good vocals. And I like, there's a cool run of notes that they do before the chorus, similar to the like little runs that Dream Theater do Obviously
Yeah.
not as fast and not as long. but yeah, it's just like, oh, cool, that's fucking tight. And it's just doing, and then it straight into the chorus. That was cool.
Yeah.
And there's a nice clean tone over the distorted guitar chords, which I thought was cool. Open C. A lot of cool guitar solos on this album, but that song, that is my standout guitar solo. That was very cool.
Cool.
And then they got a song called Egging Me On. Very cool overdriven tone in that heavy riff. It's not really punk, but it's a bit heavier than like classic rock. So somewhere in the middle, but I thought, yeah, that was cool. That was a standout.
Yeah.
Got a bit of a Tragic Earth vibe from the last song. That was the darker song, Monday Morning.
Yeah, actually, good point. Monday Morning, yeah?
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Tragic Earth. So the first time I was listening to this album, it finished, I'm like, fuck it, gotta go listen to Hatred and Tolerance again, because I haven't heard that album in a while. But yeah, a bit of a, oh shit, that was cool. Very well done, and serious topic to that. It was a cool way to end the album. But yeah, 6-track EP, great introduction to the band. But yeah, definitely keep an eye on this band. They're doing great things. Big Time and Monday Morning, some in brackets, Prayer for Tony. They're my two standouts. 8 out of 10.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, mirroring what Dave said for me, if you like your hard rock with a fun edge, this is definitely for you. I think there's some really cool riffs, great use of melody across this one. The opening track sets the whole tone for this really well. It's funny that Galaxy of Love is one of the newer tracks on this one because the hook is absolutely fantastic. As far as an opening track goes, that just gets stuck in your head. There's some great use of space in both the mixing and the writing, great tempo changes as well, nice solos across this one. All of this has this infectious energy, which is really cool to take in. It's a fun listen. It really is a fun, upbeat listen. That feel from the opening track is carried over into the most played track here, the Big Time. I love the little sympathy, like you mentioned, Dave, the sympathy for the devil backing vocals, that woo kind of thing. That was a really cool little touch in there. And if you like guitar work, this will definitely get your attention. You can just tell that this will be a lot of fun, be awesome live, incredibly catchy, another well-written song. And the mix has a little bit of a raw edge to it overall, but it suits the vibe of this band. You don't want it, you don't want this polished up to the nth degree. It will take away the charm of what they're doing. So they've captured everything's good, well balanced, all that sort of stuff. It gives you everything you want. Tones are there. Everything is well layered. And not a heap of tricks, but it's solid. They've kept the grit, which is what you want, and you can hear everything. So it's really well done. It's just got that edge to it, which is just makes it feel that little bit live, if that makes sense. There's some cool panning here and there, though, on this one, too. The opening of the Open Sea, which you mentioned, Dave, before, highlights that. But the lyrics in that song are really well done, as well as the harmonies. They got my attention on that track. But all in all, this thing flows really smoothly. The gear change is just right across the list. And there's a bit of tongue-in-cheek here and there in this one as well. This is one of those ones that's got a lot of classic influences, but it's very modern at the same time. There's a little bit of punk energy, like you picked up on, Dave, in the shortest track, Egging Me On. It's under 2 minutes for that track. It flies by. That's a lot of fun. I like the energy in that track a lot. You've got a lot in this little listen here. There's more than you might expect. For a little over 20 minutes, they've packed a lot into this EP, and it all fits really, really well. Hysterical, near the end of it, has the perfect crowd sing-along touch to it as well. Perfect for radio, that one too. That should be a definite single. That's the reference track for tonight. It's a really well-rounded EP. I love how the bass drives that song along as well. And you got to love something that rocks, but also has like this feel-good quality to it, and that's what these guys have in abundance. It's like a perfect summer EP. This is like one of those ones where if you want to cheer yourself up on a gloomy day like this morning was, this is a good little EP to put on because it just makes you feel good. It gives you the sunshine in your head kind of a thing, which is a nice way to sort of listen to music if you want to sort of switch off for a bit and just have some fun. But then like it picks on down days, but the little addition of keys and piano at the end really does close that song off nicely and sets up the closing track, which, Dave, you mentioned before. Monday Morning has some serious rumble to it. The whistle going on to kick it into gear was a really cool little touch in there as well. A few bands done that over the years. It's a nice little touch in there. It's really cool to have old tropes like that. Like we had Dangerous Curves do it. Guns N' Roses notably did it. Those little things, again, with the Rolling Stones reference before as well. Those things coming in, but not being tacky. It's really hard to pull it off, but they've done it incredibly well. And it's, they've done it in just the right way, which is perfect for this sort of stuff. It's just the right amount of bite. Monday Morning also really builds nicely and finishes off the whole listen really well. So yeah, Dave, it was a good comp you putting in Tragic Earth there too. I do kind of get that as well. All in all, this is a pleasant surprise. I had no idea what I was sort of going into. I thought, fuck it, we'll go for this band and give it a listen. But this is a really great mix of ballsy riffs and good hooks. If you like it, old school influence, but a lot of fun. This is a go-to listen for sure. I want to check out the earlier EP.
I think this is great stuff. And yeah, I think it's well worth keeping an eye on these guys, because it's one of those bands where you can enjoy it quite comfortably, but it's also one of those ones where you could imagine them tearing up the radio really, really quickly with how well they've written their songs. So I gave this one 8 out of 10 as well. I picked Galaxy 11, Egging Me On as my standouts on this. So yeah, there we go. Some different choices there. Alrighty. I know there are some people waiting for this one. We'll get to it in a second. Let's see. What do we got here? Some comments. Let's see. Nicole says, I don't mind this, but the mix sounds unco to me. Well, maybe. Here we go. Chris says, listen to Hysterical now. So many vibes going on. Firehouse vocals, enough Stonesy songwriting, nice vocal earworms. I dig it. Cool. Getting some love for it. Vinny says, don't mind this. Good to see where the Partridge Family ended up after all these years.
Nice.
Well played, Vinny. Well played. Here we go. Chris says, furthering from Vinny's comment, I get a whole of the darkness vibe from it. Classic rock with tongue-in-cheek, but still a serious vibe. That's a good little comparison there. Not as dramatic as the darkness, but yeah, that's definitely in there too. Vinny says, agree, they're a bit of a vibe. Good shot of endorphins into the system, which is cool. But Nicole says, okay, Andrew, maybe it's my hearing aids. Maybe it's because I don't listen to this type of music as a norm. That's maybe. But here we go as well. Like Darren says, not for me, too much of a boy band vibe. And there are some, if you're wanting Annihilator, for example, this isn't going to hit the spot at all. Like this is not, but this is why we try different things every week to give people a different taste of different music and see what there is out there to listen to. So that one's more of a feel-good listen. We're going to change now into our Patreon choice classic album of the week, which, Dave, we'll get to you last, I think, on this one because...
Oh, I got to wait?
Yes, because we're all about to sit through your review. So in case you missed it, that was the artwork for Nightwish and their Oceanborn album. So I'll quickly get the link now for this one in the comments, in the description box. As always, there's a little link to a little track. It says Nightwish with Sacrament of Wilderness is your reference track on this one in particular. I'll hit back onto the other one quickly here. Chris says, my first concert was Poison. I love fun. Awesome. That is cool. I like that. That's the thing. Get some different stuff there all the time. But we're changing pace. We're changing gears. Nightwish, Oceanborn. Well, David's been showing off his CD and everything else in between, because if you haven't been paying attention over the years, Dave absolutely loves Nightwish. This is up there with Dream Theater for Dave.
Yeah.
Got the t-shirt, got the CD, got the works. So Nightwish, Oceanborn, 10 tracks for 49 minutes. The second studio album from Finnish band released December 1998 via Spine Farm Records, produced by the band at Cave Rock and Finnvox in Finland. 2 singles were released from this in Sacrament of Wilderness and Walking in the Air, which is a cover of the theme song to The Snowman. This was the band's first with bassist Sami Vanska and has sold over 68,000 copies in the home country. There was another single released in 1999, Sleeping Sun, which has been included in all re-releases since the original release. This album is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. And like I was saying at the top, this is this week's Patreon choice classic album review. Before we get to Dave, Jeff, do you have anything you want to say on this particular album?
Well, yeah, this was my introduction to Nightwish. So way back when, I don't even remember how I got onto it. It might have been through a friend recommendation. I think it was back like we're talking like in the Napster days. So I stole it, I downloaded it, and I was hooked. And I was just like, yeah, it was so good. And I actually own it. I've got the CD. I went up and bought it, even though I, had the digital copy of it, which I used to do a lot. I would download something, and if I liked it, I'd buy the CD.
I'll buy it. Yeah,
absolutely. Support the artist. So, this album is an absolute killer album. It's just so good. And I think what took me by surprise, sorry about that, was the amazing vocals from this, I believe her name is Tarja, but people say Tarja, but it's Tarja. And her vocals in this, wow, just amazing. And from someone who had never heard anyone in a metal band or sing like this, she's an actual classical opera singer. That's what she so she had the chops, and she brought it. Wow. And of course this album you know, it was one of those albums that it was the one that started it for me. And then I went and got the, you know, what was available previous and whatnot.
Yep.
And then obviously from there, I've just been following on Bang, Bang, Bang. Every release I've not missed a Nightwish release since. And, you know, like I said, it's so long ago. I don't even really remember if I'm pretty sure I downloaded it from Napster or someplace,
Yeah,
LimeWire or whatever. I don't fucking
E-Donkey.
I'm really, I'm saying how old I am when I LimeWire. But yeah, it was the one it started for me, and I've just had a love affair with them ever since. I won't. I know Dave is going to gush over this album, and he should.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's just a good album, and it's got everything. It's got a little taste of little nuggets of so many genres in there. It's not just classical. It's got the metal. It's got the prog. It's got, you know, great lyrics as well. And in fact, the lyrics are almost next level. You know, they're not just, you know, boy meets girl, you know, girl meets boy, boy loses girl, blah blah blah. It's none of that shit.
Yeah.
It's deep and meaningful lyrics, and oftentimes, you know, like that's what you see throughout their career. Nightwish knew how to not only bring the songs lyrically, but the vocals, but the lyrics that followed those vocals, like holy shit. Like these people are reading some next level shit, whatever it is. Whatever's inspiring them, they're doing a good job. So yeah, absolutely fantastic classic album. And if you haven't heard it, you need to unfuck that. So get onto it. It's a great album. So
cool.
Boom.
Nice.
That won't even compare to where Dave's going. So I can't wait. And I guess the floor is yours, Dave.
Not yet. I'm going to make him go after me this time around.
You're expecting it.
Sorry. That way people can turn off after Andrew if they wish.
Not even that. But it's funny how, because I just want to go to a comment quickly here, because Chris really enjoyed the Aussie one, but now we put the reference track in. He's gone, operatic female vocals, fuck my life. So it shows you how we give people different tastes all the time. No matter what you're going to listen to, whatever your tastes are, you'll find something every week that you like, and probably something that you won't like. But that's the joy of music, because it's so fucking subjective. All right. As Dave will attest, this band has been one of the biggest hit and miss affairs for me over the years doing the show, that it's not funny. Dave has tried and tried and tried to make me appreciate this band so much more than I do. But for me, it's actually interesting how much I struggle with the symphonic metal genre because of how much I love classical music. It's actually, I haven't got my head around why that is for me yet, but I have to dig into that a bit deeper. It's like, I love classical music, but it doesn't quite translate to me personally. Now, when it works, I love it. There are some great releases out there. Even Dave, you and I reviewed the last Nightwish album, Human Nature, and we both loved that one. I thought that was a really good album. This is going way, way back than that one. This album in particular is much better served by focused listening. This one won't translate as well, like in the casual listen in the background while you're doing things at work or while you're cooking dinner or whatever you're doing at home. This is one of those albums where you want to sit down and really take this one in. If you're in a busy environment, you won't really get to appreciate what's going on with it. It's very much symphonic metal. It's quite an ambitious album. There's a lot going on in this one, but I think it's their second album, so sometimes it gets a bit too busy to the point of suffocating the narrative for me. Tracks like Gethsemane, it's a really good musical track, but I just think it got too busy and the lyrics just got washed out in just how much was going on. Like, I wanted to hear more of the story, and I was listening to it while having the lyric sheet there, so it made sense, but just when you listen to it in mixed concepts, it just wasn't quite. If it was just a bit more space, it would have been perfect. Just a touch more. It's got some very cool energy on this one. The use of organic strings and flute complements the keys surprisingly well on this one too. I thought that was a good little trick, having the organic instruments along with the digital ones. The byplay between the keys and the guitar is really well done as well. The rhythm section under that is really solid. Some very nice solos on this one too, which is cool. It's pretty well balanced. It's a bit on the dark side. Now, I know I criticized what I was saying before about how busy things were when it came to lyrical content, but overall, the balance is pretty mixed, pretty well balanced mixing-wise. like I was saying, a bit on the darker side, but that suits the music, and tracks like Devil in the Deep Dark Ocean really show off that balance incredibly well. That's one of those highlight tracks, and it goes, okay, that was really well done. I think the addition of the male vocal works well. It's neat, not overbearing at all, which is a good touch. It serves as a nice counterpoint to Taria too. That's a really good, like that contrast works well on this song and the other one that comes up later on too. It's all got a bit of a goth vibe to it, which, you know, makes sense for this one too. I like how that song in particular gets progressively heavier and darker over the duration of it too, which is well done. The gear changes across this are pretty cool. It does, however, almost feel at times with the phrasing that it's a case of having so much you want to say that you wind up doing not much at all, if that makes sense for me personally. Like you're trying to get so many words in and it becomes a bit of a word salad. And it's like, okay, what could have been really impactful just got a touch overcooked, just a little bit. You know, I think they traded off some detail and subtlety in favor of squeezing every last drop out of what they had going on. I get it. It's their second album, and they had a surprising success with their first one. They just went, fuck it, we're all in. And you've got to know when to sort of turn the tap off. And they didn't quite learn that at this point. Leaving some literal breathing room would have been nice, if that makes sense. And I'm comparing this, like, when it comes to things like the phrasing, Dave and I listen to a lot of Aerosmith at the moment, and for a different project behind the scenes. And so when you're hearing vocal layering being done, where you got the main line and then you got the backing vocal, which becomes sort of a main line on itself, and they sort of step over each other a lot. There's a fine art to doing that. Aerosmith are one of the best when it comes to albums like Pump, for example. It just works perfectly. When you're hearing that and then you're hearing this one, it's clunkier by comparison. And for me, it brings the songs down because they're trying, and you know what they're going for. The trouble is they haven't quite executed it, being a self-produced album as well. You can see why all these people, like I said, I get exactly what's going on. I'm not having a go. It's just that when you're listening to it and trying to take it all in compared to what it could have been, because you can hear it, that's the frustrating part. If it's just sort of like, yeah, it's shit, you just doesn't do anything for you. But because it does grab you, and then it's like, you're nearly there, and then, fuck. It's just that whole thing. You're like, you're getting into it, and then it's like, something pulls you out. So that whole thing, suspending disbelief is important, you know, when watching certain things like wrestling, for example, Dave. If you can't do that, you're not going to enjoy it. If something pulls you out of the moment, it saps that enjoyment factor out of for you. So that slight clunkiness for me personally did that to me. It just pulled me out. It's like, if you'd have just left a breath, literally, it's like that far off of being bang on, but because it knocks you out, it's just that it's back and forth. I'll listen to it. Anyway, from top to bottom, it's very well performed. I can't criticize that at all. You got to give a heap of credit all over this for the playing and the singing. Great use of harmony. Passion and the Opera is one where the groove actually gets a bit more time to shine, which is cool. It's not that this album is clinical. It's not my usual critique of this stuff is that it can be too clinical. But that extra feel on that track in particular was a really welcome addition to this listen for me. And in that one too, there's a little bit of extra space, which helped. That's what I've been looking for. That song actually breathed and became a real highlight for me on this record. The extra operatic touch worked well in that regard too. It's a less busy track, which in a lot of ways makes it more dramatic. And that's what I was sort of going. This is where I've made a note here. Like it builds and releases tension with the instrumental section of it. But Dave will hate me saying this, but less can be more. Knowing what not to do is critically important. And for me, it's a big, big deal. I am a big subscriber to less can definitely be more by allowing space and what notes not to play. That's very important with this sort of stuff. Knowing where to trim the fat is important. But that song in the middle of the album is a nice little break, though. That song is very, very good. And that's what sort of, again, is one of the frustrating parts. Is like, fuck, that was cool. And then you got more afterwards. So there's some nice light and shade in this one. Swan Heart is a real soft and tender moment. That's a nice little island on the album, too. That's a true interlude in the listen of it. That song really builds. I can actually buy into the emotion, too, of the performance, which is really cool. And for me, it takes a bit of time. That's probably the first time I really got sucked into the emotion of the performance of it. Moondance is a nice little instrumental in this one. The Riddler has a real and fantastic hook in the chorus, which is cool. This is an album that builds. The Riddler really proved that for me. Like the further you get into it, the more captivated you are by it, if that makes sense. Some of this is just that almost there factor form, which I've said that a bit before. It's a little bit overcooked. The Pharaoh Sales to Orion is a case in point of that one. You can see what they're going for, but it's like that whole thing where missed it by that much kind of thing. It's the get smart moment on it. It's a solid listen, Dave. I'm not ripping it. I'm sounding more critical than I intend to. I know it, but it's a good solid listen. But I'm not sure how much I'll go back to the whole album versus picking select tracks. That to me is and Jeff shaking his head at me as well. That's why I want Dave to go last because he can end on a high. It is definitely worth a spin. You've got to listen to it, make up your own mind because it's you've got Dave's gonna rave about it. Jeff loves it too. Just because I'm not as enamored with it, I still enjoy it. I think it's a good listen, but like I said, I'll go to pick individual tracks as opposed to listen to the whole album from start to finish. It's good, just not quite brilliant. So I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. The Riddler, Passion in the Opera, and Sacrament of Wilderness are my standouts. Dave, retort. I know you want to.
Go, Dave.
Oh, let's start. Okay. Ever since I discovered this band about almost 20 years ago now, every person I've met that likes music since then has been forced Nightwish upon them. Some people get it, and they're like, where the fuck has this band been all my life? And become totally obsessed like me. Other people just don't quite get it. Those people frustrate me.
I'm with you, Dave. I'm with you.
Because the people that get it, they're just instantly in love with this band. And then there's people that don't. And I don't know what it is about people, why people are so divided. Because
I get it. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I first heard this album, I was already in full Nightwish obsession. I was very familiar with the album once. I saw people with Nightwish t-shirts and they were starting to pop up in Metal Hammer and everything. So I asked my friend who worked in the photo lab at Big W with me, do you know this band Nightwish? She's metal. She would play drums in the band. And her sister did like street press for Roadrunner Records. She had some promo stuff from once. Wow. And she lent it to me. And the first time I heard Nemo and Planet Hell, I'm like, fuck me, this is the best thing ever. So I went out and bought once. And then as it happened, I went progressively backwards. That's just how I found the CDs. And I bought them like Century Child, Wishmaster. And then this album. I'm like, okay, I know this is their second album. And it can't be as good as the rest of the stuff. And fuck me, I knew a couple of the songs from this album from a live DVD that they had, but I thought it couldn't be at the same level of what they would go on to. They did improve, but for a second album, it's like, holy shit. Each song was unique. It had interesting song structure and performances, slick changes in mood and tempo. There isn't a flat stop throughout this. I thought they would still be establishing their sound. And with each subsequent album, they do continue to grow and improve. But the Nightwish sound and idea and feel is here. Album number 2. But this is a drastic change to their debut album. Thomas Holopainen, songwriter, keyboard player, main guy, thinks that this is their first true album. The first one was kind of an experiment. It's very laid back, very acoustic, some distorted stuff on there. But they realized how powerful Taj's voice was. They had to up their game. Otherwise, they're going to get drowned out by this amazing fucking voice. Yeah. And this is the first of 2 power metal albums that they did. They tend to change styles every couple of albums. It's lots of double bass drumming, fast riffs, so many great melodies. It's pretty full on with the performances, as you mentioned, but there is plenty of space in the compositions. And for a band this young, that does show a lot of maturity. It's symphonic metal, so they use orchestral parts to fill out the sound. And it has to be big. That's what they do. But a lot of orchestral metal, the orchestra is kind of an afterthought, or it's just used to pad things out. It's clear that even from this earlier times, it's part of the composition. So if you played the guitar, bass, and drums, it'd be cool in itself, but it'd be missing something. You need an extra bit to fully get. They've left space for that.
Yeah, that's what makes it work. Yeah,
that's what makes it work. You know, sometimes the melodies from the keys will drive the songs. Other times it's just completely riff driven, like the 2 heaviest songs that you mentioned, The Devil and Deep Dark Ocean and the Pharaoh Sales to Orion. If you want metal, those songs fucking deliver. Both have the guest vocals from Tapio Wilska, who was actually in a metal band with Thomas before this. So, and he also done, we spoke about Canada earlier. He's in a Canadian band called Obscene Eulogy, which is a death metal band, so a bit of a thing there. But the cool thing about Nightwish songs from here and all the way through their career, the guitar knows when to shut up. It gives space to other instruments. I mean, I love guitar, but I like MPU's playing style of his riffs and his solos. And I guess it's kind of a European thing because they don't get stuck writing into the key of E minor. Possibly because everything's composed on a piano or keyboard, but then whatever Thomas delivers to the band, you have to adapt onto a guitar. So it's not always going to be in the key of E, which gives a completely different feel to what we grow up listening to, because it's either A or E. So many riffs, because that's what the open strings and your top two guitar strings are. Maybe D if you want a ballad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just gives such a different feel. And MPU is such a great guitarist. He doesn't always solo in every song, but when he does, that's what gives it an extra oomph. But he uses that stuff sparingly. Or even to this day, he doesn't always solo. But whenever he does play a solo, it's very impactful. His riffing is tight as fuck. The melodic lines and notes are just left to ring and create this beautiful atmosphere. The guitar tone is awesome. Mentioned Thomas Jalapanian before, but he's a fantastic songwriter. Goes through so many different themes and moods and tempos. His themes have changed as the band has progressed over the years, and as he has grown and changed and become an adult, and success and loss and so many different things. But you know, even at a young age, he's going over religion, fantasy, mythology, social commentary. And he's not afraid to show space, and he's not afraid to show a tender side, which is unusual for a young man in this genre.
Yeah.
I like the how he changes the tone of the keys. It can be like straight piano for some of the ballads, or there's a more interesting tone for other songs. Juka is an absolute fucking beast on the drums. The band just doesn't sound the same these days without him. But to do what he does, if you're not getting the rest you need, because he had to quit the band for insomnia. Unusual one for the world of metal and rock, but yeah, you can't do what he did back then these days if you're not getting your rest. Taj's voice is outstanding. I mean, I was never a fan of opera growing up. I could not fucking stand it, but I have always been a great
reversed.
Yeah, it's weird because
I love classical and you
always love great performances, but just what she does with her vocals on top of a metal band. I mean, symphonies and operatic are such a powerful sound. You got metal, you combine them together. It's why didn't nobody do this sooner? This is the band fucking Evanescence wish there were.
Oh, Jesus.
Part of they stole Nightwish's ideas. Now, part of what turns me away from opera is I couldn't understand a fucking word they're saying. You know, I know the emotion is there, but the singer could be serenading a fucking farm animal for all I know. At least here, I can understand what the emotion, what the story's about. But on subsequent albums, they always did a song in Finnish, and you can just appreciate the tone of Taj's voice. But yeah, I will admit, with her enunciation on some of this stuff, I do not quite get it. I need the lyric sheet to kind of get it, the operatic pronunciation. She gets a lot better with her enunciation on subsequent albums, where by the time they get to Once, it's fucking outstanding. Such a great contrast and compliments to put her vocals over a metal band. Great artwork on the album too. I mean, if ever artwork had to fit the mood and theme and style, this.
There we go. There we go. And that ends enough with
But yeah, if you want to know what the album sounds like, just look at the cover. If you can judge it from that. And later on, you'll see like there's an interview documentary that came out before Marco joined the band, and they're just talking with Thomas and some of the band and other friends at his house, and it shows him where he grew up in Finland, and there's lots of oceans around there. Like, that's where your music comes from there. I can see the influence on where you grew up. I can hear it in your music. You know, at this stage in their career, they couldn't afford full choirs and orchestras. That came much later. They do have a small string, like some flutes and some cellos. Apparently Moon Dance has 20 tracks of violin. And Thomas has said that the trio of strings that they got in were actually quite shit. But because they were ambitious and not exactly knowing what they were doing, they kept layering. They were a young band filled with excitement. You look at the picture inside, they look like a young band.
Yeah.
3 of them actually look like they just got out of the army, because in Finland you had to serve for at least a year or something. So that's why 3 of them had short hair, which is funny. But there's also a flute player and a celloist. Big difference to the pages and pages of additional musicians they'll have on later albums. But this is an excellent album from start to finish. But like I said at the start, I do recommend this band to a lot of friends, a lot of new friends. everyone I come across with, basically. This wouldn't be the album I would recommend to start with. That'd be probably Ocean's Child, not Ocean's Child, fucking Century's Child or Once.
Okay.
You definitely go back to these. And this one and Wishmaster, if you want power metal stuff. 2 albums after that are kind of like the movie score era. But yeah, I fucking love this album.
Yeah,
9.5 out of 10. I only leave that extra half because they do get better and I need some place to go. Standouts, all. I could listen to this album over and over. It's been a fun week.
There we go. We made Dave's week this week. It's turnabout fair play because Dave's been punished with some of the stuff he's had to listen to over the last few weeks, with Rush in particular in mind there. No, it's cool, but this is where I knew that you'd gush because you love this band a bit. And I don't dislike them. It's just they don't grab me the way they grab you. But like I said to you before, when it comes to the albums like Human Nature, that's when you go, okay, fuck, now I'm in. Like
this is one of my 2 favorite. That's Century's Child and Imaginarium. I think Imaginarium is possibly one of the greatest albums ever done. It'd be in my top 3, possibly my top 1. Because you know how some songs give you goosebumps or chills up your spine or whatever. That entire fucking album gives me goosebumps. No other album, not even Appetite for Destruction, can do that.
Wow.
The entire fucking album.
Yeah.
Such a good album.
I like Dark Passion Play. That's a
moody one. The lineup change and
If I was introducing people, which I have, to Nightwish, like you've done, I usually start with that album. I say, I'll give them that.
Tricky. I would, track. But I want to introduce them to Tarja before Annette.
Yeah.
But then these days, I just want to go listen to Floor. She's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Jensen is
Tarja is or Tarja, however you want to say, brilliant vocalist, and there's no question. But I don't think she's accessible as much as, like, say, Annette was.
Yeah.
Annette was very accessible.
She copped a lot of crap because she replaced Tarja. But they couldn't have done Imaginarium with Tarja.
No.
They've had an exceptionally lucky career that they've had great singers for them.
Yeah. They've had 3 amazing singers. Absolutely.
Which is a lot better than a lot of other bands can say.
Yeah. I mean, that's right. Usually a band, if you're lucky, you'll get one really good singer. Then the other ones, if you do get ones that are kind of like, meh. Now these guys have just, whoever picks the vocalist, they just fucking know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, they're doing well. They're doing well. Let's see what comments we got on this one, apart from Chris. So, Phil says, Jeff, admit you stole Metallica 2 on Napster. Didn't everyone? Seriously?
I did. Exactly. Who didn't?
No. Chris says, much like Getty's vocals on Rush, I cannot stand female operatic vocals in metal. Nails down the fucking chalkboard. This is where music. Yeah, but that's the thing. Music is subjective. Dave, you can't stand Rush, whereas I think it's great. Nicole says, I have an issue with Nightwish. I just can't do opera vocals with synth metal. Soaring vocals, yes, but mind you, I'm not big on synth metal. So here we go. We're getting more of the back and forth on this sort of stuff, which is, it's good. It's a cool conversation to have. Tom says, sorry, it sounds like the 4th place winner of a 3-band battle of the bands. Those vocals are funny. She showed up to the wrong gig. Well, there you go. Dave, this is where I'm going to clip this. I'm going to go and do the whole, this is the moment where the heart got broken. Kind of thing. Do that for Dave's expressions tonight. What do we got here? Nicole says, I do love the odd opera, so it's not that. Okay, there we go. Philo says, I remember LimeWire. I think everyone does here. Nicole says, ditto, cool. I'm getting some agreements with me. Darren says, I just can't get into this. Obviously talented, but not for me. Wow. Philo says, I got the Aerosmith pump tattoo. Wow, that's cool, man.
Nice.
That's dedication too. Well done. Chris says, musically, I know on paper I can dig them. The vocals totally ruin it for me. There we go. So Vinny, always with the comments. Dave ruined many Tinder dates, forcing Nightwish on unsuspecting women. You know that story where Joe Perry was fucking wanting to. No, it was Slash, wasn't it? When Slash wanted to hook up with a girl, and Rox came out and he hooked up with the album, not the girl. That's you, and Nightwish.
Start playing rock. Yeah, you don't get no love if you don't like this album, baby.
Oh well. Phil is trying to saying lowest note E. Chris says Nightwish never wrote a song as good as Tourniquet or Going Under by Evanescence. So there we go.
Fighting
No.
words.
Yeah.
Chris says, imagine Dave's Tinder profile. Nightwish or fuck off.
Oh, fuck off.
Jason over on YouTube. Good to see you. Thanks for jumping in tonight. Hey boys, went to Vienna, Austria late last year to see my girl Nightwish. She's absolutely huge in Germany and Austria. Nice. They are big over there, and that part of the world is fucking beautiful. So I hope you enjoyed it and had a great time with your girl over there. Vinny says, serenade my animal. I'm not sure how far we're going into this one. I'm going to move on. Sonia says, hi guys, I'm one of those people that Dave forced Nightwish on about 7-8 years ago, and I was sold, fell in love with them, and ended up getting all their albums and some live DVDs as well. And see, sometimes it works. So there we go. Here's another one. Basher says, in my opinion, Nightwish, best band this century. Journey started in 2000 with the fantastic Wishmaster album. It was so unique, it grabbed me immediately. I loved all the albums thereafter. Only recently listened to Oceanborn and found it very good. Need to listen to it again with the lyrics in front of me, which may enhance the album. So we are getting some love in the end. Dave, you feeling better?
Really good.
Good way to do
Chris
it.
says, Appetite for Destruction has I Think About You. Shut up. There we go. More fighting words. I'm liking this one. Yes, Nicole. Flora is pregnant with her second child. That announcement was done on social, I think, 48 hours ago. You didn't see it, Dave.
Wow.
I didn't know about that. That's great. Yeah, she just beat cancer too. That's fucking great.
She just beat cancer. Now she's got a second kid on the way. So congrats to her and the already existing child and the husband as well. Well done all around. And hopefully it all goes smoothly from this point forward, because you just want to make sure it goes great too. Yes. Here's a small correction for you, Dave. 4 amazing singers. Marco was great as well. His solo album is fucking phenomenal.
Really is.
That solo album was great.
Speaking of Nightwish singers, if you want, I shouldn't say it, if you want a little bit of a laugh, check out their first album, because Thomas Holopainen sings on there. And he says later on that he'll never fucking sing again. he's not terrible. He can carry a tune. But for what they're doing, it's because the song Beauty and the Beast on that album they've done later with Marco on vocals live, and he fucking smoked it. So it's a great song.
Yeah. But just needed that extra bit, But no, you're right about Marco. He was great. But yeah, congrats to Flora again. Now, Chris says, I understand the Gush Dave would do it with Sabotage. So there we go. There are some bands that just speak to us individually.
Yeah.
He said with Nightwish being huge in Germany and Austria, it's begging for Schwarzenegger on guest vocals. No, it's begging for Dave Hasselhoff on vocals. That's who it's.
No. I don't want to know anything about Schwarzenegger. Did anyone see that deep fake fucking Schwarzenegger thing he was in Titanic?
That's been going around for a while, though.
So someone deep faked Schwarzenegger into Titanic as the Rose character during the drawing.
It's brilliant. It is really good. It's so well done.
That's fantastic.
As a paying customer, I want to get what I want.
Tell me someone does the whole paint me like one of your French girls.
No, he's like, look at my boobies, Jack.
Look at me, Jack. And only me, Jack. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, I haven't seen that. I have to check that out. That'd be fucking great. Oh, fuck. Oh, wow. Nicole says, Hannah's from Sabaton drummer, his husband. Yes, the one. That's what I was thinking of. Your Sabaton is the connection there. I knew that one. Back of my head somewhere. Is his name Thomas Jalapeno? I think my ears are playing up. It is Thomas Holopainen. I think it is. So it's close, Vinny. Close. Not quite.
Dave thinks he's hot anyway.
Okay. Oh, well done. Well done. That was good. Fucking priceless. Here we go. Now we're on. All right. Well, that does wrap up what we have planned for tonight's show. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. A big thank you, of course, to TC, Sonia, Lee, Bell, Conrad, Jeff, Jason, Brendan, 16x9, Marty, Sam, Trash, Carolyn, Gwyneth, Andrew, Daniel, Man Family, Darren, Vinny, and more, like Ula, for jumping into our Patreon. If you want to help us out, give us a bit of coin just to help us do more things a bit easier. That's going to be more important as the months go on, because I'm making some big change behind the scenes.
be greatly appreciated, but there are some changes coming through there soon as well. So just sort of keep up to date with it if you feel so inclined. But also a big thank you, of course, to our fantastic sponsors in Squid Ink Screenprinting, Alt-Cvlt Rockstar Finance. Their details are in the description box of this one. So please find them, give them a like or a follow too. That'd be greatly appreciated. And yeah, follow us on your preferred social media platform just to keep up to date with everything that's going on. We've got our TV stuff as well. So check us out Thursday nights, 10:30 p.m. local time on Channel 44 Adelaide, and Saturday nights, 10:30 p.m. Channel 31 in Melbourne and Geelong. You can check out both broadcasts on the respective channels, but also via the CTV Plus app and also via ctvplus.org.au. So you can watch it wherever you are in the world at those time frames because it's like a simulcast. That's the usual stuff. I think this week's TV episode, Jeff, is the one where you're on. So we're doing our 2-hour Canadian special coming up this Saturday night, which will get the 1-hour edition on Channel 44 after that. Then we've got another episode dedicated to new music. Then there's one around Easter time dedicated to the theme of death and the afterlife was the theme for that one, Dave. So that one's in there as well. So we've got some stuff coming up that's going to be interesting. And then the next couple of episodes after that, another one on new music, and then another one dedicated to music we found over the 10, 12 years doing the Hard Rock Show. And then we'll do an audience choice request at the end of April. That's TV side of things. For us, next week we have the we are going to be doing Rush versus Annihilator for the finale of our Blame Canada King of the Rift series. Then we're going to be reviewing Aussie band Temptress Chaos Divine, and then I think it's an Yngwie Malmsteen album, Odyssey. I think is the one I'm thinking we're going to do.
This is going to be fun.
One of my favorite albums of all time.
Oh, there we go. Another big week coming up next week in the stream. And there's other stuff going on as well. So just sort of keep up to date with everything we've got going on. I'm trying to get some stuff done, but fuck, it's hard this year. We've got a lot, unfortunately, going on behind the scenes, but it will make sense later on. But that is about where we're at. I'm going to try and work on that idea we had for the Discord chat or something before too. I think that's a cool idea, like little bouncing back and forth, sharing the tracks around something and turning into a playlist. That could be some fun. Awesome. So we'll work on that one behind the scenes, and we'll keep you up to date with everything we've got going on in general. But yeah, just make sure you're keeping up to date with us, and we'll have some fun for you very, very soon. Either way, and check out especially things like the questions we ask. Try to do them daily as little videos as well, but there'll be one coming up about your favorite bass player for tonight's little build the band things where we get your help to help us get a score going, which is the fun part. All right, some final comments before we go to the bin. What do we got? Rowan says, now I'm watching Arnold in Titanic. This is why I don't have time to listen to music.
I'm sorry.
Wow. All right, cool. Philo says, later, fellas, got to run. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you've had a great time. Darren says, cool show, guys. Have a good one. Thank you so much for joining us. And Paul's gone, here's some Lorna Short at the Grammys. Okay, there's be a comment, a link on the YouTube stream. So we'll go and check that out after we're done here. I can't quite share it in the platform, but we'll go and check it out on our YouTube. The streams stay up. So if you're here and you want to see it, then please do, go and check out the stream, and you can check out the chat afterward as well. Tom says, love the show, guys. Thank you for bringing the rock here in the East Coast, USA. Thank you for joining us. We got some international viewers, which is really, really cool. I like how we're able to spread our wings and get overseas, which is fucking fantastic. So thank you for joining us. And no matter where you are in the world, whatever time you do join us, whether it's live or later on, we do appreciate you spending some time with us. We go for a long time. We have a lot of fun doing it. So hopefully you have some enjoyment and find some new music as well. That's the main point of it all. There we go. So yes, Paul has shared the comment there. Andrew said, here's an idea for a show: Led Zeppelin versus Black Sabbath versus Deep Purple. We're getting a lot of these ideas coming through, which is, we keep saying, Dave, there's never enough room. Never enough room. But that is a very cool idea. We'll definitely add it to the board. There's a lot on the board, but
hard, man.
We pin it. That is
a tough
hard.
one. Yeah, that would be tough. One.
That's a very
all classics.
Which way do you go on that one? Wow. Especially between Sabbath and Purple, the lineup changes too. Fucking hell. Okay. Anyway, because there's some underrated albums from different lineups that got overlooked too, which is like, anyway, damn, that's a good question, Andrew. Well done. But yeah, we'll check out the final comments before we get out of here. But for now, let's go to our favorite part of each and every week, and that is where we go to the bin. And Jeff, we'll give you a minute. Dave, what have you got for the bin this week?
Okay. So last few weeks I've been bitching about like the cost of living and everything, and I'm sorry I bring the mood down, but yeah, I'm going to do it again. One thing I haven't, Dave. Now, the last few months I've noticed something. I live in a relatively decent area. I've lived here for
Yeah.
about 14 years. I've never seen homeless people before, but the last 6 months we've had homeless people outside. We've got 2 local supermarkets. We've got Woolworths,
Wow.
we've got an Aldi/IGA. There's homeless people out the front of both, and it's been like that for the past 6 months. I feel like shit walking in because, like, sorry, dude, I'd like to help you, but I got my own fucking problems. But I don't know what the hell's happening, but it's spreading. It's getting worse. We're seeing consequences of this stuff. So
Yeah.
I'd like somebody in charge to do something about it and help people out because it's going from bad to worse. And I don't know what's happening. It's depressing. So in the bin.
Yeah. No, that's why with everything we talk about tonight, yes, appreciate and share what you can, but only do it if you can. Like, don't feel obliged to chip into helping us or to helping the the tote thing or anything like that. Just do what you can. Even just doing it, if you can't do anything financially, if you still want to help, then just do a share on social. Don't overburden yourself because that's more important than ever before. And that's to do whatever's right for you first and foremost. And then when you're in a position to do more, if you want to, do so. But don't. And Dave, I know it sucks, but it's hard to walk past someone. But yeah, you can only do what you can do, man. That's the way it is at the moment, unfortunately. And it's more of an indictment on the social structure and the social contract than it is on you as an individual or anyone else as an individual for that matter. So yeah, that's my take on that. We are going to get serious because my bin's going to be fucking dark in a minute too. Is there anything else you want to add there, Dave?
I'm done.
All right. Jeff, what do you got?
Well, I've mentioned this before, so I kind of like to. I'm a little politically minded, so my bin has got to be fucking the asshole overseas there named Trump. With all the shit that's going on, he's being indicted and stuff, or supposedly he's going to be indicted. Yeah. Supposedly he's going to run again. I wish he'd run again and head first into a wood chipper. This guy is just fucking useless. And the fact is, if he is, and if he does, it says more about America than it does. And it's a shame because America's a beautiful place, but it says more about them. If we elect this guy again, fuck that. In the bin, you fucking useless, wasteless, oxygen thief cunt.
There we go. All right.
And before I go on, I thought of a cool name for that playlist thing, right?
Yeah.
So you got to call it the THRS Highlander playlist, right? Because there can be only one.
That's it.
Only one.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Popped into my head. But anyway, yeah, Trump getting the fucking bin. He's not going to fit. He's fucking toupee. It's not going to. It's just too big for for the size of that bin. You're going to need a fucking backhoe, fucking something bigger for him to get in. His ego's too big. It's not going to fit in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. Can you tell I'm not a fan?
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah.
And that's okay. Like,
look, I hate to go politically. I'm sorry. This guy just shits me to tears. Fuck's sakes, he's useless.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that
I'm looking in.
Biden is any better. Useless as well, but I don't know. I don't want to drag the show down to the level. And the YouTube algorithm is going to go, dude, he's talking Trump, ban this show. That's not going to
No, they won't. They'll probably feed us to a whole bunch of shit. Yeah. Oh, it's okay, because my bin's going to take us into an even darker place, believe it or not. We're going out on a high here, folks. We really are. I am binning fucking Nazis, you pieces of fucking absolute filthy shit. All right? And I tell you what, I don't care your point of view on trans people. You can have your point of view, right? But if you need Nazis to stand fucking next to you to support your argument, guess what? You're at least a sympathizer, so get the fuck in there, all right? I'm tired over the last few years of the way society has shifted into punching down at minority groups. We had it with the same-sex marriage debate here. Now we're getting it with trans rights and all this kind of stuff. Quit punching down. Fuck off. If you've got nothing better to worry about with your time than where someone takes a shit, I tell you, you're doing pretty well. So this whole fucking thing can get in there. Now, I do have one lighter note, though. Just to end on a bit of a levity kind of a thing. But yeah, that pissed me off. When people are standing on the steps of Parliament House in Victoria doing the fucking Zeke Isle, fuck that shit.
No shit.
Fuck that shit. We do not need it, and it should be condemned in the strongest fucking order by anyone and everyone. And if you fucking try and excuse that shit, I'm going to have a fucking real issue with you. I fucking don't like it at all. That's me personally. Fuck. Piss me off. And it impacts me personally because between the same-sex marriage and what's going on now, it impacts people in my family. So fuck you. Genuinely fuck off. It's painful. It's nasty. It's unnecessary. Stop. Anyway, for my levity moment, for the fun part of the bin tonight, we have pets. We love pets. We have them all the time. We have dogs that shed quite a bit. They're short-haired dogs, but they shed. So what happens is when you get short-haired dogs that shed, you get little fucking spikes of hair that run around the joint. My wife, I don't know how Jody does it, but she constantly gets them stuck in her foot like a splinter. It's fucking remarkable. I've not known anyone else to get fucking dog hair splinters, but she does it. But what my bin in this regard is to lighten it up is, you know, when you get one stuck like in the collar of a t-shirt, in that fucking bit there where it's cross-stitched over and it just sits there and you can't get it out and just rubs against your collarbone all day long and just fucking itches like a bitch. That can fucking get in the bin too. Fuck that shit for a joke. Fuck off. That's one. I love my dogs, but fuck me dead. That's the most annoying thing about them is that. It's fucked. Anyway, lighter note. There we go. I found some way to bring some light into it all. What do we got here? Vinny says, in the bin, people walking their dogs during the middle of a hot day, put on a fur coat, go barefoot, see you like it, fuck her off. Yes, I agree with that. If you cannot put the back of your hand on the concrete, do not walk your pets. Okay? It burns their feet. It's fucked. Tom says, yeah, come to the States. There are miles of real estate for the homeless. It's sad. It's unfortunately worldwide. It's incredibly sad. Nicole says, Tommy Johansson has a new release every Friday. The hint this week is sounding like it could be a John Farner song. Interesting. All right, cool. Make sure you share it around with us. Paul shared a link there. Nicole says Trump is a moron. Americans are becoming dumber and dumber. I do feel sorry for the Americans in the audience. I'm sorry.
I do too.
Rowan says, late question. Do you do these Thursday because it's THRS Day? Never thought of it until now, but that might be a good excuse. There we go.
Wow. That's awesome. That's really good.
Brilliant.
To be fair, I've never thought of it until now, Rowan. Well done. Well done.
Holy shit. That is
cool. I just we are in our own little bubble doing this shit, and so it's fucking that's such an obvious pun, but never fucking thought of it.
You gotta use that from now on.
Yeah.
That is going to be able to. Yeah, Rowan's gone, how nice to get out of the bin in the first place. I don't know. Tom's giving us the clap there, which is nice. Sally says, dog hair splinters are a thing. Thanks, guys. Yeah, they suck. What do we got here? Nicole says, I'm grateful I was born in 71. I don't give a shit about minority or majority groups. People are people who gives a flying fuck who does what, but genocide is abhorrent. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But Nicole, my dog died 2 years ago and I still find dog hair. That is so true. That is so fucking true. And it's a remarkable thing. Condolences for the loss. That sucks because we've gone through that obviously ourselves. But when you're still finding dog hairs and that all those years later, it's fucking remarkable how that just sort of, and it can be a bit of an emotional roller coaster that as well. It's like, that fucking sucks, but at the same time, I don't know. It's a weird, that's an interesting one there. That reality, that little. Sorry,
maybe we can. I was to say, maybe we can. Eventually, in probably the next 10 years, you'll be able to take one of those hairs, pop it in a machine, and clone the fucking dog. You'll be able to get a look-alike back.
Repet from Total Recall.
Repet, yeah, same thing. Exactly right. Don't count it out. It'll happen. If they can find somebody to make money.
Someone will do it. It'll happen. Yeah,
that's right.
It'll definitely happen. But Vinny's gone. See you next THRS Day. Thanks again for a great show, gang. You're more than welcome. We will all see you again next time around, THRS Day, also known as Thursday. Nicole has gone YouTube, Tommy's page, and suss it out. We will do that. There's some links going back and forth in the chat on YouTube. So go and check out that. Here we go. Vinny says, quick tip for everyone. When writing to a boss you hate, use the acronym FYI. It can mean fuck you, idiot.
Yes.
Nice.
That can go in my next one to fucking... What's his name?
The bank, Philip Lowe?
Yeah, Philip Lowe, that guy. It's not even worth remembering his fucking name.
And Michael says, be careful, Jeff. Your dog will clone you to get more treats. Actually, probably true as well. Our pets will clone us in the end. It'll be animals that own the place cloning us to be their servants because we are anyway. All right. On that note, we'll get out of here. We'll see you all again, same time, place, next THRS Day. But until then, I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
And I'm Jeff.
And as always, folks, you know what to do. 'Drink up.
Drink up.
And rock on.
Beautiful. See you soon, guys.